This is an Off the Tongue podcast. Welcome to SkateMansfield.
Do it.
What's up, SkateMansfield? I'm BJ Price.
I'm Adam McElroy.
And I'm Doug Brown.
And Doug Brown is here today.
Guy.
We came in hot. That guy. Yes, that guy. If you guys noticed that appeared in our last episode,
Yep.
this is why.
Yep.
My donation. It's
Yes.
the least I could do other than being here for you guys.
That's true.
Yeah.
Andy's here.
SkateMansfield.
And
Yeah,
to
it's
talk
crazy.
skateboarding.
Yeah, you
All
show
about
up to the group all the time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We can't thank you enough for all the support, man. It's been awesome.
Absolutely. I mean,
enjoyed
it's so great. Like, and just the feedback that I get from everybody, and they're just so pumped when
Yep.
when you show up, they get pumped. They're like,
That
that's
makes me
awesome.
feel
We're
good,
so
man.
happy he's here.
I feel it.
So good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. So what we're talking about, people, is on Friday nights. So through October, I'm an idiot. Through March 31st, we are doing
2023.
Right.
2023. We are doing a skate group at Crossroads at the Ontario campus from 6 to 8 p.m. Doug has come out and shown us how to do
Yes.
some pretty crazy stuff out there.
Yeah.
I know you've blown
It's-
Blake's mind.
I will just say too, like, even when you're just skating around and you're just messing around, like not even necessarily trying anything, but just kind of like messing around with your board or whatever, I can still be like, that's a pro skater. Like I can just
Yeah.
tell by how you're moving.
Yes.
I'm like, I couldn't even think about doing any of that.
Thanks, brother.
It always comes down to that, like,
I do. I'd have just as much fun going for a huge trick as just rolling around in a circle or doing a 360 or just a simple
Right.
ollie. The
Sure.
sensation of doing a, ooh, that's a good one. Bam.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
man. I'm with you on that. No matter, I don't care how old I get or what happens to me. If I can just push around and kind of just get a little pop every now and then, I'm gonna be happy.
That's kind of like the stage that I'm at. Like I'm borderline retired from skating at this point,
You
but
got to get back in, man.
but I'm still out there trying to land a kickflip. We'll see. We'll
What-
see if I
right,
get
bruv.
that back.
I started skateboarding in 1986, and that was my attraction, was not to do a ton of different big tricks or whatever. I saw the movie Back to the Future.
Great
Nice.
movie. Great
And
movie.
yeah, just the sensation. I saw Marty McFly going down Doc's driveway, and I thought, oh, superhero, that's something different. I was
Yeah.
doing traditional sports at the time, like
Yep.
basketball, baseball. But I knew it was creative and different, so I should show and tell
please do.
here.
Yeah.
Since
That's
we
the
got the
first
ball
board.
rolling.
Yeah.
This is one of my first boards, 10 inches
Look at
wide.
this thing.
Wow,
It's huge.
That is dope.
that's so awesome.
But all I wanted to do was just to go in a smooth parking lot and just ride around. I
Right.
enjoyed just simply skating.
Yeah.
Because kickflips, all that stuff didn't come till way, way later.
Right.
I was 12 years old, and what we were talking about those movies earlier, like
Yeah.
the Bones Brigade video show and stuff like that. And
Did you have to send away for those videos, or were they
they're
somewhere
at skate
around?
shops. Yeah, we'd have to drive
Yeah.
an hour or so to a skate shop,
Mm.
or we always had the friend that would copy a copy of a copy.
Yes.
And
That's right. The tape over the one part of the video.
We didn't have YouTube
right.
at all.
Well, you were talking about how like you just wanted to skate, right? You just wanted to ride it, and like I always kind of relate it because I always grew up skateboarding too, but riding dirt bikes and motorcycles, and people are like, "That's so dangerous. Like it wouldn't be worth it to me or whatever." And I'm like, "You have to understand,
Mm-hmm.
it's so worth it."
It is.
But
Yeah.
like that's how I would describe skateboarding too. Like even if you're not like I've gotten way past wheelies and burnouts and all that.
Sure.
Like I don't care about any of that anymore. I just want to ride, right? Same with skateboarding. Like
Yes.
it's just it is dangerous and you can get hurt very easily, but like just the feeling of like you said just pushing
yeah.
around. It
When I started, it was
It's
that
crazy.
sensation, and I didn't even
Yeah.
think about the danger, getting hurt or whatever.
Mhm.
It was just fun, and it's still like that. I still get sentimental. I started when I was 12. I'm much older now. But there's times, like right now, I could just go outside, jump on my board, and go down the street and just buzz.
right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
just feel that's very important
Right.
because I feel a lot of kids unfortunately get into skateboarding. They get so intimidated because
Yeah.
they're watching YouTube. Like, this is skateboarding. Okay, I got to learn this and that.
Right.
And it's just great, but back up. Just learn to
Yeah.
stand
Like
on it. Just learn to turn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
To ride. Kickflips, that's great. It'll come.
like to your point, I don't think there's really that many, and I guess maybe it's just from us living around here, but I don't really think there's that many like groups of kids or friends or whatever that are just like skating around town, like just
Right.
down the street, like just hanging out, skating as a group. they're all at parks trying to do
Yeah.
huge tricks or hit the gap or the rail.
They
and
show
all
up,
that.
they think they need to drop in. It's like,
Right.
really don't. I mean,
Right.
if you could learn how to navigate a park just kind of
Yes.
pushing back
Right.
and forth.
I see it all the
Just as
time in
important.
my hometown. Like, when did a skateboard become a fashion accessory?
Well,
Where kids holding them all grab, and he's like, "It's not skating to go anywhere," and that's all we
Right.
did.
Yeah.
Get out of school, go home, grab our board. Neighborhood dudes, we would shred, go to the Lawson's, get a couple big gulps and some Snickers or whatever.
Right.
and-
something like that.
but we skated everywhere for transportation and
Yeah.
fun. That's how
Yeah.
it happens. And you hate to see a kid just be like, "Okay, this is."
got it. I got it to got
Hey,
it.
you got to go to A
Right.
to B, man. Skate.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it
Always
was-
The
pushing.
board
It was
moves.
definitely different for me too growing up because I grew up in, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Belleville, which is
Yes, the skate park
country.
Rule.
but, yeah.
Well, like
before that,
I didn't live in Belleville though. Like I lived probably 3 miles outside of Belleville. Like with like all three of our neighbors were farms. Like that's what I was surrounded by. My driveway was
Adam and
gravel.
cows.
Oh man,
So, like-
the worst.
Yeah, so like I had a kind of a garage to skate in and like a basement similar to this without carpet though, so I could skate in it. Except the ceilings were only like 7 foot tall or something.
I had a neighbor like
I'm
that.
like I had to build a little ledge that was like 8 inches or something because if I went too big, my head would
It'd hit
scrape.
your head,
So I didn't really get the chance to push around too much, like just to travel. But I would always go to a friend's house that was in town,
Yeah.
and that'd be
Then
the first
you'd
thing
do
we
that.
do. Yeah, we got $1, but it's like the trip down to the gas station is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna be hitting curbs and just whatever.
Yeah, the little things.
Yeah.
Because of course I started again in 1986, and during those years there was no skate parks around or anything. I was lucky that I grew up in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Yep.
Paradise.
Curbs.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a big because there's no traffic at
Right.
all, and
Yeah.
we had these big driveways. It almost looked like a ski resort.
Right. Oh,
And
nice.
you would
Oh,
go
yeah,
down
like
those.
straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could build any ramp
Yep.
because nobody would do it. Well, you want to hear a quick funny story?
Of
I
course.
do.
I've told this before. My mom was a real estate agent, so I had all these like plastic signs and stuff,
okay.
and we had particle board, and we would get all these Rambo'd, if you will, ramps that we'd put together. They looked horrible, but they were just
Oh,
like
for sure.
wedges, you know.
Yeah.
And one time, I made the monster awesome wedge ramp. I was so haggard. And
I believe I made the awesome monster wedge ramp that you have
For,
not
for the
conquered
group.
yet. Yeah.
For the group.
I was thinking
that
about it on the
thing that-
drive here. It's not a wedge ramp.
What's
It's a wall ramp. It's like
it goes right to the wall.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
It's at like
Poor
a
Doug.
60-degree angle.
Oh,
too,
more
or
than that.
something. Like,
Yeah. I was thinking about the trick because I'm like, there's a lot of tricks I can do on a wedge ramp.
I'm just saying, I
Anyways.
180'd into it. I'm just saying.
Anyways, this ramp I had in my driveway, right? I go to school. I come home, walking up, got off the bus, it was gone. What happened? You know?
It was literally trash. Who takes
Right.
It
that?
was because the trash people came that day and they took it.
Oh, dude, that's so rude.
I was so bummed.
yeah. Man.
Oh.
Rest in peace, ghetto ramp. Wherever you
Yeah,
are.
right. I remember we had I think it's particle board too, but it's
Yes.
like
Good old
thick.
particle
It was
board.
like an inch or two thick version.
Phew.
And it was just a square. I mean, it was probably maybe 6 by 6,
Okay.
like just a square. And the garage had a little lip on it, right, out to the gravel. But I realized if I put, what was it? I had 6 cinder blocks.
okay.
So 4
Oh,
for the
man.
end,
I've been there.
2 for the middle, and then this board. And the transition, like from the garage to the board, was smooth.
oh, nice.
So that's all I did was, a 9-foot run up to this little 6-foot particle board, disasters, all this stuff. Like
Yep.
I couldn't even air out because
Yeah.
one, there's nowhere to land,
Right. Yeah,
and
you hit the
two,
gravel and then hit
two,
the deck.
you have no time to get speed. You get like a push and a half, and you're there. So that's what I dealt with for years.
I learned by ollieing out. We had a pavement driveway, so I would just ollie out of that little lip in the garage. I did that for hours
Go
every
garage.
day.
It would rain. You go in the
Right.
garage.
Yep.
A lot of times,
Yep.
garages get the
Yep.
boombox going.
Yep.
I was
Shout out to
lucky.
garages.
I was lucky that a few years after that, though, I did build a mini ramp.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
So I was the
crazy.
coolest kid in the neighborhood.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether
Did I-
people liked me or not, they were like
sure.
knocking on my door, and
Right.
especially when skateboarding got a little bigger and like.
And you're like, you picked
88.
on me. You're not allowed in.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there were
Time to
times
flex.
I
Yeah.
finally got a little chain across it, but there were times where I would go upstairs, my parents' room, I'd look out, They didn't
Somebody
think I
was-
yeah, they were trying to like break the lock. So like, come on, man. I thought
Right.
we were bros.
That's funny.
But for the most part, it was awesome.
It's
We
all for
skated
the
it
love of skateboarding, though.
all the
right.
Like,
time. It was so awesome.
yeah.
I miss
Almost
that
part of the
memory.
culture to do that, knocking off skate
Right,
stoppers.
that's- yeah,
You
that's
put
how
a
it
skate
was.
stopper on it.
Even if I'm not going to
yeah.
skate it, if I see a stopper, I'm knocking it off.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, when did that all happen on rails and everything where they had
probably
those,
the last 5,
things? That was kinda
8 years
no,
or so.
it's more than that. 10 plus
I
years.
mean,
it's
been
really-
around, but not like crazy like it has been.
Yeah, they've now started to make it into the like architecture of
Right.
Yeah.
what they're building, which is kind of interesting. It just makes it more interesting to try and figure out how to
It's
skate.
like all these engineers have to think about skaters, like when they're
Uh-huh.
They do
building
now.
buildings.
Well,
Can't
in
ignore us
Worcester,
anymore.
my hometown of Worcester, I'm
Mhm.
responsible, my friend and I, for a lot of the because we skated all the banks and everything. Now they
Yeah.
had all these no skateboarding signs.
Sure.
You can tell they're all outdated because they're like 80s board looking. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
They're still there, and I'll
No
always,
wheelie boards.
every once in a
Right.
while I go over there and I'll do an invert like right in front of the sign and be like,
Of course.
okay, I'm how old now? Like really?
So you can
Yeah,
have those
that's-
back-to-back photos.
That's,
from
I
back
mean,
then.
that's life of a skater, though, is just getting kicked out of everywhere.
Yeah.
That's part of it. It happens, and it's unfortunate because you know
Yeah.
we grew up skating, thinking, well,
Yeah.
somehow these
Right.
were the enemy or something, but they wouldn't do that for a whatever.
Yeah, if somebody was playing pass in the
You never
In the
see
parking lot.
You never see no bikes or no scooter signs anywhere.
Right.
oh
So-
over at Appleseed Plaza they do.
So I gotta ask
Updates.
too, because I don't know if a lot of people remember. I know I wouldn't, because that's just my brain. It just doesn't work that well. But do you ever remember like the first contest you ever skated in?
Yes,
Whether it was
extremely
like
well.
even amateur or pro
Yes,
or both.
tons of amateur competitions, tons. I competed for years and years and years. First one, it was a YMCA, my local
Nice.
town, and I thought we'd show up and do like freestyle or whatever,
Right.
Because a parking lot, but they had a bunch of cones. So
But they
Like
just wanted
the-
you to zigzag.
yes,
Yeah.
it was a bunch of that.
Okay.
But then they had a thing at the
We
end.
both did the fish thing like, right at
Yes.
the same time.
We all know what this
And
means.
it was pretty weak, and they would time, like wow.
Yeah.
And then they had the freestyle thing at the end, and it was just this parking lot, which is great and all. But I said, well, let's go over here. There's things we could jump off. So I'm jumping off everything. And, I won a T-shirt, and I got first prize.
Oh,
There you go, nice.
dude.
In
First prize.
1986 or so. That was my very first skateboard competition.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome. Was there any like you said it was just a T-shirt in first prize? No like
Yeah.
money or anything?
cash
like that?
money.
Oh, it was just something the YMCA was doing, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow, okay, we're getting some attention
cool.
from this. This is cool.
Well, I think when we do an event, we can give out a T-shirt or probably more. So that's good. That makes
And
me
some
feel better.
stickers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, to a kid. I mean, I thought it was awesome. A free shirt. What?
Right.
T-shirt.
You know,
What?
Right.
And to say I got first place, and
Yeah.
Do you remember
Something to
like
put on the resume.
Do you remember like the tricks
Yeah.
you were doing to get first
oh yeah,
place?
I can tell you all the tricks back then. I'm still doing a lot of them.
That's good.
A lot
Yeah.
of boneless stuff.
Yep.
Shove-its. I could 360 really well, and handstand. I used to be able to do a good handstand, a coffin where you lay down on the board, and
Yeah.
judo kick out and stuff like that.
Nice.
Old school stuff, which is coming back,
Yeah.
thank goodness.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
it's coming back. You
There's
can
a
thank,
time
you can
period
thank Haslam
in the
for that.
90s where people were like, damn, what are you doing, you know?
I think I think people were like, it's similar to what we were saying earlier, where people started to get focused on, we got to land this huge monster trick, and like the time period I'm thinking of is like when like kind of big air started, like way back
okay,
in
yeah.
like the early 2000s, when people are like, we just got to go big and land this crazy
Danny Way's
stuff.
going over the Great Wall of
Yeah.
China.
Yeah, and
I
like
remember that.
Bob Burnquist and all them, but
Yep.
like now it's gotten to a point again where it's evolved, and it's just like everybody appreciates everything now.
Yes.
Oh,
thank
yeah.
goodness.
Which
I
is
feel
nice.
that.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
do.
But that
We-
was the other big thing about like Lance Mountain's part in the PAL videos.
Yeah,
because he was just ripping down the street.
Yeah.
Right.
He wasn't doing the vert or
Lance,
anything.
people could relate to.
Exactly,
because
we
he
could see this,
wasn't
like-
going huge.
Yeah, they're
Right.
like, I have a neighborhood and some curbs. I can go do that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, we talk. I'm curious too of this because we talk about this too, the culture behind skateboarding, and again, like now everybody is all will embrace everybody and everybody's welcome and will help each other and stuff. But I know when we started skating,
Oh man.
it was in that like kind of punk rock anarchy phase.
Oh yeah.
To where people were like, just getting crazy on
I-
videos and doing stuff
Yep.
that you shouldn't be doing. And that was like, that kind of became the culture for a while.
Yeah. It was a huge subculture.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
skated even before that. I mean, skateboarding keeps going up and down. Now
Right.
it's just like, okay, it's here, folks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Part of our culture.
Well, that's
and
kind of
society.
what I was saying too, because like I think, and I'm curious about this. It sounds like when you guys were starting, it was that all love, like everybody was just doing it for fun and having a
Yes,
good time.
Very happy time in skateboarding.
Right. Right.
Mid 1980s.
Right.
It's also like I thought this was pretty interesting. Just like when you listen to Tony Hawk talk about it a lot too back then, is that the surf culture was 10 times worse and still is.
Oh yeah, locals only
Yeah.
kind of a.
Yeah, get out of here.
There'll always be
like-
that. And skateboarding will always have that, no matter what. I think, even if it turns into cloning, like basketball or some kind of sport like
Yeah.
that, it'll always have that rebellious edge to it.
Oh,
where
for
it's
sure.
still kind of
for
like,
sure.
well, you know what? I'm doing this, and there's no rules on this. There's no
Yeah.
teams.
Right.
There's no.
Well, that's kind of the love of skateboarding
Yes,
too. That's
true.
why. Is
That's why I
because-
fell for it.
Yeah, it's so
Mhm.
individual, and it's like you have your teams, you have your friends and stuff, but all the failures are on you, all the wins are on you, and everything like that. So yeah, I totally agree.
But it's also like a sport now to where, like Braden Hoban had the SLS locked in, and then Gustavo Ribeiro landed that crazy trick, and he was like,
Yeah.
Braden was the first one to run over and tackle him and hug him
Right.
and be like,
Yes,
"This is the
right.
greatest thing ever."
Skateboarding is special
Right.
that way with
Yeah.
competing.
Yeah,
Right,
We're all
Because-
brothers. You don't
exactly.
see that
right.
in other sports.
Even like the Tampa Pro today, like
Right.
just small stuff, like like in because I grew up, I was a big basketball fan growing up, and it's very common for like if somebody need to get fouled or whatever, the clock to stop, and somebody to shoot anyway.
Yeah,
The defender will go up and block it and be like, no free shots, like
Yeah, you're
no
the
practice.
enemy.
Like,
yeah,
but when it comes to skateboarding, like Louis Lopez a couple times, like after his run, they were like, go again, like
Yeah,
just
do it
try to
again.
hit it real quick,
yeah,
and gave him like 3 or 4 extra chances, not for points or anything, but for the love of it. Like, yeah, we all want to see you make this.
yeah. And that's the part that I gravitate to the most, is that
Right.
no matter what, if somebody lands an amazing trick, no matter what your affiliate is or whatever in that area,
Right.
in that part,
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, all right,
Right.
Yep, your
Right.
skateboard spoke.
yeah,
Right. Right. Well, and I will say, I think your love of that and all that kind of translates into the group too, because that's how the group is on Fridays. Everybody's helpful and like wants to see everybody land some stuff.
Oh
and-
yeah,
Yeah,
If-
you got a good thing going, and that's why I keep going, and I will go to the next one if I can. Is because of that positive energy.
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do. It is
working.
for the love.
And you have
Right.
every age. You have boys. You have
Yeah.
girls. You have parents. Yeah, everybody's
Yeah.
there,
Mm.
and we're all just having a good time.
Like,
I'm still really I'm riding hard that I think on the 31st we do a big competition, because I could set up like chairs and stuff for parents to watch.
right.
We could get all
Something
that
to
set
work up
It'd be
to.
so-
Let
yeah.
people know. Yeah, okay.
I think it'd be
Like-
kind of dope.
Even today, like, so for people who haven't gone to the group or whatever, me and Harper go most of the time, but she's 4. Sometimes she wants to go, sometimes she doesn't. But like today, she's like, I want to go skateboarding. And like, we went outside and like messed around and stuff. But when she's saying that, she wants to go and like,
Yeah.
go, but she wants to watch. Like,
Yeah.
it's
To be
so
part of it.
crazy
Mm-hmm.
because like BJ, you know her a little bit as far
Yeah.
as like her wild little self.
Mhm.
But when people are skateboarding, she'll either be wild or she'll sit down and watch, and she'll be like, "Whoa!" Like, and she just loves it
Just being
too.
around it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. But like that energy of everybody, like even when she's gotten in the way a couple times, and everybody's like, "Oh no, it's okay," or they'll even be like, "My bad," when it's like it's clearly the 4-year-old's fault
Oh,
here.
no, they always win at a
You know,
skate park.
Yeah.
But like nobody's getting upset. And obviously I'm not trying to I'm trying to make it so she's not doing that or whatever.
But she's also 4. And
yeah,
it's,
but people are okay with it because
Yeah.
everybody's just having a good time. you
and
know?
every time when someone comes in, like we had this last one, we were blessed enough to have like 6 more people who had never been.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
which was
lot of
dope.
people. Yeah, like
And-
good skaters
And
too.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
some really
yeah.
good ones. So
Yeah.
I just grabbed him and I said, "Hey man, here's what's going. If you want to move anything, you can move anything. Just make sure no one's session it."
Right.
And I'm like, there are some little kids here, so just be mindful and
Right.
help them out if they need some help and stuff. And that's all you got to say. And they're like, "Okay, that's what we got to do. That's
Yeah.
what we'll do."
No one's
Right.
throwing boards or
Nope.
getting
Right.
all worked up.
Nope.
and-
Nope, not at all.
I don't really think like maybe I'll hear like somebody be like, but like
Yeah.
nothing like even louder than that or anything. Like there's some natural frustrations, but it's positive,
It is. You're frustrated because you're like, I know I can do this, and you want to keep going, and
it's just cool to be like I'm distracted with her or whatever, and I just hear a board go like make some sound, and then 12 people go, oh! And I'm like, that's just so cool. Like I didn't see the trick, but just seeing hearing the reactions, awesome.
So like, I know you've traveled pretty much the world at this point.
I have been one lucky skateboarder.
Yeah.
So you get to.
I
do
never
this.
thought that I would be in this position. I never woke up one day and said, "Yeah, man, pro skater." Even the title. I first did turn pro, and I was getting paid. I was traveling, doing all this. Even a year later, I was still kind of like, it's almost like it was embarrassing. Kind of like, oh man, I'm just a skateboarder. It's cool. I'm happy to be doing this. I'm paying my bills, and I thought it would last like maybe 2 years.
Sure.
Right.
But 20 years now. 20
so
years.
Well,
awesome.
we're very ADHD. Obviously, you've noticed that over the last hour.
Yeah, we're back.
But let's try to start kind of near the beginning. So like how long were you skating before you actually went pro? And then like everybody goes pro a different way, like sometimes you win a contest and go pro, or
traditional routes,
or you submit a tape or whatever. So what was that beginning like?
Happen? I didn't just wake up one day and say I'm a pro skater.
Right.
All right, let's put that to rest. Because when I did turn pro, especially like in Ohio, I mean, I was under the rumor mill quite a bit where people were confused.
Yeah.
I'd go on the road. I'd be doing events with Mike V and stuff and all this. And then I'd come home and they were at the skate park or wherever in Cleveland or something. These guys would be like, oh no, what? Here comes Hollywood. Completely ignorant to everything that I just got off an airplane and just did this tour. And
now you're going to make me feel bad about this awesome thing I just got to do.
So my buzz like, what,
I don't mean to interrupt, but that's kind of the culture that I'm speaking of is like people were jealous and stuff at the time. Like now I don't really think. There's some people that are going to act like that just in general, but like the culture's not that anymore.
It's changed a lot.
Yeah.
But when I first turned pro, it was 2002. So I'd been skating. I was 29 when I first got my first paycheck by skateboarding, which is, I thought, I was like, wow, I'm kind of older, like.
Right.
I wasn't thinking like this is the prime time or whatever. Of course, all the other skaters at the time that were around, a lot of the high profile guys were my age.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And anyways, so I skated. I started in 86, 12 years old. And through the 90s, skateboarding was really uncool during that one time period. I was one of those skateboarders where I'd show up at a park, if you could find one, where there'd be me and like 2 rollerbladers, and that was the scene. So I survived. I skated all the time because it was fun. It was my anti-drug. I love the exercise because I graduated high school.
It's so exhausting.
It can be.
I live for
a half pipe, man.
Right.
But skateboarding picked up thanks to the X Games and Tony Hawk's video game. That put skateboarding in people's homes. Thank goodness.
Yep.
So it started to grow, and I was competing. And at that time, when I was doing tons of competitions, everything, I'd already had my bag of tricks that I kept through the years.
Right.
So I was competing against a lot of guys that were really good.
Sure.
Right.
But during competition, they weren't consistent, or they were going too big. Or I had my bag of tricks, and I knew, man, I had certain ones on lockdown. I had a routine.
Right.
And so I was comfortable competing, and then I kept doing that. And how everything really started, the seed of my career.
This is Gravity Games?
Was, yes.
Oh, this is my favorite story. I was going to ask you to tell this story.
It's how it happened. I mean, it did. It was a day that affected me greatly. The Gravity Games were coming to Cleveland, Ohio, and I went as a spectator to check out the event. Why not? Well, I've told this story so many times. They're warming up on the ramp, which is cool, all the other pros, and I wanted to skate. It was driving me nuts because my board was in my Dodge Caravan at the time. I ran out to the parking lot. I got the board, and I thought, well, I just want to skate. Let's see what happens.
Right.
So I got through the security. The lady let me skate. And I said, cool, no big deal. I went on that ramp to blend in. I just wanted to ride,
Right.
They didn't have it scheduled till way later, till anybody was actually competing. So here I am skating, and I knew if I fell, they had a whole ramp set up that my credibility would be shot. But I was landing everything. So there's an angel on my shoulder, probably my mom, rest in peace, that was probably do something productive with your life, make a difference, anything. So I finished my first run, and I kind of went to the side, and the other pros were like, who is this guy? What was that all about? But a couple kids wanted my
Where's
autograph.
his wristband?
Right.
Yeah, right? They wanted my autograph, and I'm like, no, I'm just a dude from Worcester that teaches guitar.
Yeah.
But right place, right time, there were some booths of some sponsors there.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a ramp sponsor that made the ramps for those Gravity games that swept me up, a husband and wife team, and said, look, what's your deal, man? I said, I just skate, just doing it for fun. And they wanted me to be the demo skater for the remaining days of the Gravity games. So the next 5 days, I was just like a circus puppy.
Wow.
From 10 in the morning till 8 p.m. skating every day.
Wow.
And I was getting paid. They got me a hotel. It was never like, oh, I'm a pro skater, I've arrived.
Right.
No. It was just, okay, this is cool. Like I said, I was teaching guitar at the time in my hometown. So I canceled that week out, and I just skated nonstop. The only breaks were to eat and restroom. So, like, the second, third day, I'd wake up, my legs were stiff, and I was just...
5 days in a row.
I was going to say, that's
It
a
really
lot of
was.
hours and a lot
I
of
had
days.
blisters, and it was gnarly,
Yeah.
but it was so awesome because I met a ton of other pro skaters.
Yeah.
Made a lot of connections, and I had this dream week, hanging out with some pro skaters and
Right.
doing the thing, right? Getting a taste of
Oh, absolutely.
That's
Again-
that's just everybody's dream at this
why-
point is like,
why wouldn't
whoa.
Yeah.
Why would I say no?
Right.
And so I get this taste, and it was fun, and well, what happened, making a long story short, I went home after the dream week, and that company, the ramp company, wanted to send me on the road. They wanted to sponsor me. Like, big time. Like, salary, and Andy McDonald was one of their big riders, and
Oh,
Steve
nice.
Pavlero.
Nice.
So they're going to shoot me
that
out.
duo right there,
Yeah.
you can't go
Right?
wrong with that.
And so, especially Andy, I did a lot
Especially
of...
back then, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 02. So I did a lot of events with Andy McDonald. I got to go on the road, different states, and show up at grand opening of skate parks that they were building. So rock and roll. Cool, right?
Yeah.
So that snowballed. They sent me out to ASR and ASR trade show in San Diego to do a bunch of trade show stuff, and that's where I got to skate. And they had the ramps. I met other sponsors. I got seen. So I never...
Wow.
YouTube wouldn't happen. This is like
Right.
Yeah.
right
Right.
at the birth of MySpace.
Right.
So,
Oh,
like,
that's true, yeah.
I wasn't throwing myself online out there saying, look at me, not
Right.
at all. So at that event, I met a lot of other skaters and companies, and then that ball started rolling. Next thing I knew, I was getting more sponsors that were pro sponsors. I got my first pro model with Yoker Skateboards out of Los Angeles, which is, they just reissued this. Where am I? I'm like a
That one.
newscaster
Yeah,
trying to
it's-
point.
Right there.
And that started a lot. That was about 2003. Because
That's
that,
such a sick board, too.
Right.
It is.
helped
I like
design
that
it.
graphic.
And that board, my first pro model, was put in skate shops, sent out through different wholesalers
Yeah.
across the United States.
Sure.
So it was like having an album out.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? was
It
kinda-
does. We were talking about Blink-182 earlier. It definitely
Yeah, it
gives
gives you
a,
that vibe.
gives a Blink
Yeah.
vibe when I saw it.
And so that board was selling really well for that company. And not only that, these shops were getting the board, checking it out, and my name was on it.
Right.
And then I had shops contacting me to come out to a grand opening of a skate shop
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
So crazy.
This guy's clearly a good skater. He's got a board out.
Yep.
People are buying it. Let's hit him up.
And
yeah.
that's where it started to grow and grow. And then they put out another pro model, and I was getting other sponsors, meeting other pros, and
How
it
do
just
pro
started to grow and
models
grow.
work? Like, I've heard several different things. Do you get like a residual from
Yeah, you get
sales?
You get a salary.
Okay.
You know, it's
I didn't know if they just say, well, we're going to sell your board. We're going to give you X amount of dollars as a salary. Or do you get like,
Well, sponsorships are weird. Even in the beginning of my career, I got a lot of what they call flow sponsorships,
sure.
which rock and roll.
Yeah.
Never said no to those. I've had a few of those, and that's great because they give you free stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Another benefit of being in that position.
Right.
Like I was
Right.
going to say no.
Right. Right. Right.
In my early 30s, I'm like, yeah, okay.
You're
Like,
going to give me money to do this? Yes, please.
You're gonna give me 15 shirts? Like, yeah, sure.
oh, yeah.
That's
My
fine.
living room at the time,
Right.
I mean,
Wardrobe.
boxes and boxes.
Right.
I'd get like a hate mail from somebody from in the middle of nowhere. I just sent them a picture of my like living room with the boxes and stuff, and not saying they were sending my website. And,
Right. I'm doing good over here.
Like, you
Yeah.
know, I didn't sign up for this. I got fortunate, and I put myself here. And
Right.
right.
I created a lot of my own luck, but the benefit is, yeah, free
But-
stuff is always good.
in all
100%.
in all fairness, like, sure, like, you know, right place, right time, all that kind of stuff, but you also can't discredit all of the work and stuff you did
Sure.
prior to that, because right place, right time doesn't mean anything if you haven't worked for the last
Yeah, if you're not
15
prepared.
years or whatever it was.
Yes, this is true.
So
And I had a lot of drive and tenacity. I was pursuing music in my 20s,
gotcha.
making CDs. God, remember those days?
Yeah.
Right. My car doesn't even have a CD player. And I didn't know that until after I bought it because it didn't matter to me.
That
But
was a big
yeah.
deal at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the thing. When I built this computer, Jim's asked me, he's like, do you want a disk drive? I'm like, yeah. They
I know,
make
he's got
computers
so
without
much
them.
physical
Right.
Yeah,
media.
I have
Right.
a lot of like CDs and stuff, and a lot of that stuff isn't on Spotify or any of that
Right.
crap. So
Right.
I'm keeping that stuff.
So I was pursuing music, but when this fell into my lap, I had an agent with my music. So when this fell into my lap, I had an agent. We switched gears and we started contacting different companies and working with schools
Okay.
and libraries, speaking at detention centers. And that was another thing that I had at the beginning of my career that I was very fortunate to have was an agent. And so I could
That
make
helps.
something of this.
Yeah.
And it was never about money. Still isn't. It really is, because I have to say this, because the passion, yes, I love to skate. But boy, the number one thing and why I do what I do is for
Money.
these kids.
Oh, right.
Right.
Kids.
No.
Right. Not
For-
money.
Well, like,
Or not just kids, but just to influence or to inspire others
Yeah.
right.
to believe in themselves, to not let anybody take their dreams away.
Right.
That element of it is so big to me, and that was something that just drove me. Still does.
Right.
That's
To
so
be able
great.
to give back. And when I was a kid, I was such a big dreamer, and we have assemblies and stuff at school and junior high, and you sit there and like, this is great, this
Right.
person's fireman would come in, okay, great, but I always wanted to be the speaker that I would have loved to have heard in 7th or 8th grade or whatever.
One that they makes them actually pay attention.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
See?
Oh,
See, I
I-
told you, Adam. This is me without. I mean,
I know.
with talent.
I'm
Like,
aware.
I'm
Oh,
that without the talent.
I'm aware.
That's the problem.
Define talent. I never said I was a great skateboarder.
I can't do a 360 finger
You know?
flip to blunt stall to come back.
I have
in.
my bag of
I
tricks.
can't do
I'm
that.
proud of them, but I don't toot my own horn.
That's
with
what I
my
call the
own
talent.
Skateboarding.
Well, you brought up like, and this is again that culture for a long time was people were talking about like, so and so's a sellout or whatever because
That was
like
a
all this
big
stuff-
word to say back
and
then.
that's and to me
Oh,
like
speaking
wi-
of which,
when it
we'll get to this in a second, ladies.
yeah
Oh, man.
that's awesome. But when
Sellout.
it comes to like this kind of stuff or skating or like for me like podcasting, that's kind of like my passion and stuff. And people are like, oh, you want to be like rich and famous and like do it for the money. I'm like, no, like there's other reasons like you were saying, but instead of like doing it for the money or being rich or whatever, I always look at it as I just want to be financially free. To be like,
Yeah.
to make enough money
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
to where I can do whatever I want to influence people or help people or
Yes.
whatever. It's not about being rich. It's not about, making a ton of money. But if I can get to a point to where I can live off of this,
Sure.
then that's going to make everything way more impactful.
Yeah.
Or have more time to do all that. So it sucks, but like money is kind of part of it.
Oh yeah, the whole sellout thing. I mean, I get accused of that. People think, well, first off, people assume pro skater equals a lot of money.
Right.
There's like 300 or 400 pro skaters, and then you got your high profile ones. That's a whole
Right.
different thing. That's like LeBron world, okay?
Right.
I'm not in that. I
Yeah.
never claimed to be. I
Right.
pay my bills every month just like everybody else does.
Right.
I'm very, very fortunate. I don't take it for granted, but it is the reality of the situation.
Right.
I'm going to do this as long as I can.
Right.
I don't want to work at IGA or anything. Not yet.
Right.
but
Right.
if that happens, that's cool too. And that is noble. But
So being sponsored. So I know some of your sponsors, but can you tell us all of your sponsors? And first of all, cover my favorite one.
we're gonna jump.
Two
I don't want to jump
sponsors.
too far ahead, but we're talking about sellout because I've been called that. I've been called Hollywood. I've been called a lot of things. None of it affects me. I don't care. I know who I am. I'm secure.
Right.
But this is I brought a bunch of fun little things. I rode for X-Air deodorant in 2005 and body wash. They made a couple
time
different
to do it.
scents. That's me on there. You probably can't see that. Google it. It's
Kinda-
pretty funny. I got a lot of backlash from the skateboard community at the beginning of this because it was everywhere. It was at Dollar Trees, Dollar General, Ben Franklin's, all kinds of stores, and it was national. But if they only knew how much, speaking of money, I did get paid a significant amount for this. Okay. That being said,
Because your likeness being on it and everything.
yes,
and
my signature
that's-
and all in there. But
That's so funny.
I never actually use this stuff, by the way. This is great for grinding, you know. I used to clean my toilet with this stuff. It's 2005.
Wow.
But anyways, with the money I made, I was paying my bills, but I had some left over too. But I started it used to be Skate Straight, and then it turned into my Dream Big Foundation.
Okay.
So I took that money and I put it towards a good cause. And
oh, sure. Yeah.
so the people that were giving me, you know, all the backlash and this had no idea of what I was doing at my life at that time and what I was doing with this money and trying to survive too.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't do the same thing.
Right, for sure.
No, they just didn't get given that opportunity. I mean, it's interesting. Some people, yeah, I guess if they have that type of integrity where they would turn something like that down. But it's like, I'm with you. I'd see like the good I could do.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, I'm going to get how much money? Okay, well,
okay.
I'm going to buy skateboards for people. I'm going to start this and do this. I mean, I would love to do something with SkateMansfield full time if I could.
Right.
You know what I mean? It'd be awesome. I don't know what kind of sellout I would be to be able to do so, or even that means anymore. I want
the definition
to do more
has
good.
Changed, I think, through the years of sellout.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I haven't heard that in a long time.
That's true.
Which is good.
Like especially like even in the music, you know, it's the big ones. Yeah, the big ones you think of are like when Green Day went off the independent label, or those are the ones that were you like you saw vicious stuff, backlash type stuff, but
sell out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I know
survival.
Survival.
Yeah. And that's not a bad word.
Right.
You know?
No.
Right.
So I paid my bills and
It's so hard. Like it would be like basically impossible for you to be like, nah, I'm good on that situation. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I got a lot of backlash for a lot of sponsors I had back in the day.
Yeah.
And there was always a story that they didn't know about. The ignorant hater that's saying, well, why you... Like when I rode for Olipop, I got eaten alive. That was sold at Journeys and like Spencer's, Olipop, skateboard bubblegum. Boy, people sharpen their knives on that one.
That's crazy.
It was kind of fun because I got a lot of bubble gum. I mean, I had a lifetime supply, and I got on the package, and But all that stuff aside, Danny Way helped finance that with his high school buddy. So I get to go out to
Danny Way's company.
Yeah, I got to go out to San Diego, and I got to meet Danny Way. I mean, stories like this, folks, on everything that's happened in my career, we're like, okay, I got the last laugh on that. Let that guy just think, oh, I'll never forget that. He sent me this. I would never let my son ride for that company, and they get very passionate in their stuff. But like, you have no idea.
Goodness gracious.
Let me ask you this, because I always see, growing up as a skateboarder, I always see correlations in a lot of stuff. And like, so with that, like you're getting a lot of backlash and people are like hating on you and whatever. And you're like, I don't really care.
No,
I'm dealing, I'm getting my bills paid and all this. Do you think you built that resiliency because of skateboarding? Because you have to battle through it.
Because before I even got into skateboarding, I always had some adversity. We all do.
Well, right.
As a kid, I was a childhood actor, so I dealt with that. Where I did some pretty prestigious roles, and I'd go to school, and I was different and looked at a little differently.
Yeah. Right.
And then when I got into bands in high school, people like you, and then people like, oh, you suck.
Right.
And then when I started teaching guitar,
we know.
Right when I graduated high school, I taught guitar for 10 years. And, I got that experience. And then the whole skateboarding thing, that's when it really... No, let me back up. When I did my music in my early 20s, talk about opinions.
Right.
Whoa.
It's never, it's like, it's just not for me. It's
that's
like, you're the worst, and everybody hates your face.
But that's where my thick skin developed. Yeah. Thank goodness I went through that experience, because when I got into the skateboard world and started to get a little more well-known and out there, then it really came full force. And
Right.
But yeah, I had a good backbone, and whoa, something just fell.
The board fell down. It's fine.
And thank goodness I did, because putting yourself in that position, you sign up for it, number one.
Yeah.
Right.
Great. I don't care if somebody doesn't like me, that's fine.
Right.
But what I do care about is, because I've been in this position, I care about that kid or that individual that says, hey, I read your book, I was suicidal, and because of your book, I didn't kill myself. And I have
next
so
level.
many stories like that, visiting kids in the hospital with my Athletes for Hope that I do stuff with. All that stuff, that is the gold. That is what takes any hatred of somebody not liking you. Like,
if you hear that one time, like, if I were to hear that one time, I'm like, my life is successful.
Yep.
Like I've accomplished something amazing.
Yeah, something
just
that
one
most
time.
to know people,
Yeah.
experience, which is
That's
amazing.
That's awesome, man.
You
That's
have to
awesome.
have that inner pride, and
Right.
that's not ego, and that's not
Right.
boosting, but it's the armor. I wear my
Right.
armor of like, well, I don't have to toot my own horn. That's a
Right.
fun position to
Right.
be in too.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
and I think, I would say for me personally, I feel similarly, but again, I always think about this stuff, and I think it comes back to skateboarding. It comes back to me being like, okay, I failed, I've succeeded, I've, broken ankle or whatever it is, but like I've gotten back up, and by doing that, I know myself so well that I don't care what anybody else
right.
says.
And you're making a great point. I know where you're going with it. There's lessons in skateboarding, just a piece of wood with 4 wheels, but it teaches you something
It's
about
life,
yourself.
dude. It's life.
It is. You're testing yourself. You having a goal. You
Right.
achieve it.
It
that's
takes
your
you
paycheck
2 years to achieve it or whatever.
or whatever, and
sometimes.
it's between you and the skateboard.
Yep. There's nobody else to blame. It's because you're not committing to the landing or whatever it is. And it's like, it just teaches you so much about yourself. And like, I don't know, like that's one thing. I have a buddy whose daughter said she wanted to get into skateboarding. And he said, do you have any advice? And I said, basically, tell her this, and this is just being real. It is going to hurt. It's gonna hurt.
I've told many that it's not ping pong.
Yeah, it is
Right.
going to hurt. But if you really love it, you'll stick with it and everything like that. But the first, minimum, the first 3, 4, 5 years of skateboarding is pain. 90% of the time you
Your
get on
shins
the
are gonna
board.
hurt.
You will fall.
Yeah,
That's life. You will fall.
right.
Yeah.
But
But it teaches
get back
you.
up.
Yeah.
And know your limits. That's important. I'm
Yep.
saying
Also
that because I'm older.
Right.
This wisdom of like know your limits, wear a helmet, be safe. You have to challenge yourself. Don't
Right.
try to be too let's just outdo everybody or
Right.
I told I had the opportunity to go with Mayor Wirtz and go to TriStar skate shop. We rented it out to skate there, and that feeling, like I hadn't skated like with a group like that in a while, to where it's like at
You
one
feel
point,
self-conscious.
yeah, you do for a little bit, but then like as soon as the feeling of me like landing some stuff, and I'm like, all right, it just immediately brought that old side of me when I was skating all the time. I'm
Right.
like, what can I set up that's insane? It's like
Right.
I put a kicker on an A-frame, and I'm like, I'm gonna launch over this and
Right.
try to board slide or just
Yep.
launch
do
over
you
this.
do your rail.
And I saw it on Twitch. I saw him set it up, and the first thing I said is, "Don't hurt yourself, BJ.
Yeah.
Calm down a little bit."
I
bud."
remember getting up there and slapping the tail down and be like, my wife's gonna kill me.
Yep.
No turning back now.
Nah, dude.
Real quick, I do want to say in the chat, we
dude.
probably will have questions at the end. I'm sure.
Yeah, dude, we'll do an AMA if you don't
more
mind.
than happy to answer.
I'm
There
sure
you
there's
go.
going to be a couple.
Get
so
them
yeah,
in there now, people.
Throw them in the chat. We'll probably get to
yep.
those at the end.
I was gonna say Twitch chat. We're not on Twitch. In the comments or whatever, hit us up with those questions, and we'll ask Doug here when we get closer to the end.
Yep.
So let's go through some more of this. So what can you list off like every sponsor you have, and like what's your current sponsors?
That could be a lot.
I've had
but-
a lot of sponsors. Some
Is it because
small,
the
some big.
company comes and goes, or
Sometimes like Sobe Beverages I rode for a few years. And
Strawberry Daiquiri,
Yes.
man. That was the drink of the early 2000s.
That was
that
fun.
was the X Games drink,
Yeah.
and then it be like if that was Monster before.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Monster
so
existed.
good.
It was.
And eventually it went away, and then it came back, and everybody's like, "It's not the same."
Yeah.
It was fun. I had a card they gave me. They gave me all the swag in the world.
That's
like
great.
a Subway size banner, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I had a card. Oh, that was fun. I missed that. I could go into any gas station. We could just get whatever we wanted. All the coconut, all the different.
Dude, whatever.
I missed that. I remember taking a picture of my fridge. I call this my Hollywood years.
Yeah.
So I was Hollywood. I was a sellout.
Hey.
Right. I wanted free Sobe. But I took a picture of my fridge, and it was just like all the. I wouldn't do that now, but.
You should find that picture.
You would still appreciate
That's
it,
a
though.
throwback picture you put up.
I
It's
have
like,
a lot of throwback photos.
Yeah.
In fact, it was so long ago, I didn't even have a digital camera at the time. When I first turned pro and all that stuff, I was on the road so much, I wasn't filming because I didn't have any of the gear. And MySpace, said MySpace too much. I'm aging myself.
Hey, I was on Zanga before MySpace.
What was Zanga?
Zanga was wild, dude. That was way
missed
before
that.
MySpace.
I remember Facebook when college kids had
4chan
it.
Miller
It was XANGA, dude. Shout out to all my Zanga people, dude. You know what's up.
What's up?
Shout out.
He's younger than both of us, just so you know.
Yeah, but it was before MySpace.
That's true.
It's
So you
crazy.
You were in there when it's early.
Look, call me the Dane Cook of social media, bro.
Top 8.
Whatever. Only like 7 people will get that reference, but
So then
anyway.
who are you
Oh, my
sponsored by
sponsors. Yes,
currently?
Sorry. Yoker Skateboards is
Yep.
probably the
yes,
biggest
the
one.
biggest one, yeah.
And they have great distribution. They've had a lot of legends on there, especially back in the day, like Tom Fain and Russ Howell, 70s skater guy. There's like,
I'm ashamed to say I don't know who that is.
you don't know Russ Howell. You've seen the Z Boys, right?
Yes.
He was one of them.
Okay. He was all part of that culture. Don't know who Russ
Stacy
Howell
Peralta,
is.
that's about it.
Met
But-
Stacy. Tony Alva I've skated with before.
Okay, I know
More than
Tony
once.
Alva.
Yep.
Skip Englam I've actually
I do
met
know that name as well. Thank
a
you,
few
Tony Hawk.
times. Anyways, name dropping. I've had a bunch of different sponsors. Landwave Ramps has been really good to me. Now, these ramps are awesome. Did I go into commercial mode all of a
Do it.
sudden?
No, you're good. You're good.
Do
They're
it.
well, a lot of people assume they're like the junky X Factor ones that you'd get at Walmart.
Yep,
and
I
all
had
that,
The
one.
ones you
those?
go right through.
that were in the store. But no, these ones are tough, and
They're beefy, man.
Yeah, you can tell they're made well.
they donated some ramps.
They did.
Yes.
kindly
Yes.
to SkateMansfield.
Shout outs Landwave.
Landwave ramps, and they've been good to me. In fact, I met them at the Gravity Games originally, and then they went off in some other ventures, and they started back up again, and so that's how I reconnected with them.
Did you get to skate? Okay, so if you look on the little thing that came in with it, with a super young picture of you,
Oh,
like it comes in with
It's
every
cringe.
ramps, but
yes,
it had
their
this like
brochure.
had this 2-story ramp that they
Yes.
built out because you can just keep connecting them
yes,
and make them
Really?
as big as
at
you
the
want.
factory. They had
Did
the
you get to
monster
ride
one.
that thing?
Oh yeah, many times.
That's so dope. All right, keep talking. Let's see if I can find it to show people. It's so dope.
It's like ginormous.
There's the-
So
They had a crew of like 5 guys that built it all day, and I showed up, and
That's so funny.
yeah, so like, how do these? While he's looking that up, how do these? I'm always curious about sponsorship deals because there's so many different ways you can do it. Like you can do it like commission based. You can do it. I know certain sponsors, you know, like bigger ones will do like contest matching, and like some will do royalties, and some will do a salary. So like in your experience, you know, are these more like, you know, giving you product to wear and stuff like that, or like, you know, how do these deals come about the majority of the time? That's crazy, by the way.
it's different all the time. The
Right.
flow sponsorship that I spoke of is most common,
Okay,
which I was getting a bunch of those in the beginning, where they just send you free stuff,
right,
which can
which
be
is
awesome.
Yeah, that pays for itself, right?
Yeah.
A whole wardrobe is a lot of money.
I rode for snowshoes for like 3 years.
Okay,
Snowshoes?
You remember?
I remember
snowshoes?
those. Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
I don't, dude.
yeah.
Finally, somebody.
I definitely remember them. Yeah,
They get people that like slam them stuff, and they're not even spelling it right, but that company sent me 3 pairs of shoes every
Whoa.
month for 3 years. So I still have a ton
wow,
of those shoes.
3 pairs.
And Steve-O was their big guy, if you remember that.
Yep.
And I got
That's
to
how
do-
I know it. Yeah, that's crazy.
And then for different sponsors, you can get salary is the dream, where they actually pay you and you do events for them and stuff.
Yeah.
But free stuff's cool. I don't know. I just can't believe it's been 20 years. I don't think about it
That's so
really that
bonkers.
much.
Trying
Right,
to find the big one.
But I always feel lucky.
right, for sure.
I never take it for granted. There's been
Yeah.
times.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, that's awful.
There he is.
That's awesome,
That's
though.
the worst invert on the planet.
It's better than anything I've
yeah, I was
ever
gonna say
thought of.
better,
Like,
better than
I will
anyone I've ever accomplished.
send you photos.
Yeah, because they've
out.
built it up. See, it's got these base plates that you can just keep building and keep putting like the kicker
Right.
part
Oh,
on.
yeah, and they last through all the seasons. I mean,
Right.
They are
And-
heavy
and
duty.
snowboarding. That was my idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're all.
I was gonna say they're
I don't know
definitely
that.
made
You
very
can keep
well.
stacking them.
That's awesome.
in that brochure. They just had that.
In your backyard over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that you two in that one?
That
Oh
is
yeah, it
me.
is. That's awesome. I always
Yeah.
that's a method, right? I always
Yes.
loved methods.
Yes.
For some reason, like anytime in Tony Hawk or whatever, if I was trying to like, you know, hit a jump to just gain speed for the next big one or whatever, I'd always do a 360 method or like a 720 method over the gap, just because I always loved method airs for some reason.
Yes, that's why I named my podcast.
Your podcast is named Method Airways.
Method Airwaves.
There you go. That's awesome.
I used to do those in swimming pools. I'd jump off the diving board with like one of those boards and
Right.
Just throw it in. Yeah.
board, and
Right.
that's an
Those are
80s
awesome.
trick all the way.
That's
So you've got some of your. Are these all your pro models here?
No, I have, I think, 18 or 19.
Dang, dude.
Jeez.
You have to go to my
I guess 20
website,
years, right?
DougBrown.org.
Yes. It'll be in the episode description. It'll be in the comments. It'll be in all that. Go to DougBrown.org.
First Pro model, which they reissued.
That's
Very cool.
awesome.
These
That's,
are some of
That
my
is a dope
favorite
one.
boards.
I do like that one.
yeah.
This was the second one that Yokoher.
That one looks like a Limp Bizkit album.
That's
out.
awesome.
Now.
These are all amazing.
Yeah,
I love
they are.
all the designs.
Oh, you're gonna
I
have
really
to,
like
you're gonna have to
this
tell
one.
us your setup too. So
This kind of reminds me of like a De La Soul.
Yeah, I used to
type.
ride for
right.
donkeys out of Cali.
donkeys. What are
All right.
donkeys?
All right.
That is my face. On there that
Interesting.
it's kind of cool.
That's
Huh.
awesome.
That's dope.
This one was cool. I helped
that one's
design this one.
awesome.
Wow.
This is one of my favorites.
like
I wrote
that.
for a
Yeah.
company called Outbreak years ago. It's got the whole boombox thing. You like that?
That's awesome.
That's so
Especially, yeah, putting it on your shoulder like
Yeah.
that.
You
That's
get it?
awesome.
You got it.
That's dope.
That's awesome.
We'll go sentimental here. This is one of my favorite boards out of all.
That's
I
fire.
think I had 18 or 19 pro models, but this
freak.
one is special because I didn't get to say my life story. I did a short version. My mom passed away when I was 16. I was, the punk rock kid and all that stuff, and she had cancer, and it was unfortunate. Our relationship was so rocky at the time, but I wanted to do a tribute to my mom, so I made this medallion board. The company did, and it was a something after she passed away. They're like, "You want anything your mom's or whatever?" And there's a jewelry box. Like, I don't know. And I just grabbed this medallion because it looked cool, and I wanted something. So I found out years later that my dad got this for her as a gift.
Oh.
So fast forward, into my career, and I thought, well, that would make a really cool. It reminds me of the old PAL boards.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
All the medallions. So that's what the story behind this one. So
That's
it's out
awesome.
for a
Sounds
year
awesome.
or so. That was fun. It was always touching to see somebody, like some kid riding this board, and
right.
he didn't know the story, but
Oh yeah.
But
my mom
still.
actually wore. This is the actual one. It's actually a photograph that they put on there.
Oh, that's
Wow.
cool.
so
that's
it's
awesome.
special and sentimental.
And then
Oh,
you
dude.
mentioned Back to the Future.
This
Right.
this one's pretty cool. The
Yeah.
photo shoot for this is
Dude.
a lot of fun because that is me. I got to do the whole Michael J. Fox,
You
Marty
got to-
McFly.
Did you get to be that close to a DeLorean?
I have before.
Ah.
I've got
So dope.
pictures with an old Nash original Back to the Future board. But yeah, I got to do the whole bit, and that was a tribute to the movie because I
Right.
started
Right.
because of that. And
I like
so
that it's
crazy.
kind of like the license plate at the bottom.
You like
I like
that?
I like
That
that your
was
name's
my
on that.
idea.
I think that's cool.
you ask about my setup.
Oh yes, I'd like to know what you ride because I think I'm gonna put some rails on my next setup.
Yeah, people are always like, "What are those things on the side of your board, man?" Everybody had these. The
Yeah.
rails for
Yep.
finger flips,
Yep.
grabs. They help for
Oh, I
sliding.
never even thought about
See,
it
that's
for
why-
finger flips. And
When he
stuff.
said that's
I
what he
love
why he
it.
does that, I'm like, I gotta put rails on
Yeah.
the board.
I always just thought, preserving the graphic bracelet.
Nope,
basically.
that's the last thing on the list.
Right, but that's crazy. Because I never got to the level of a finger
Sure.
flip, so I
Right.
never thought about it. But
Yep.
that
Lot of
does
finger
make a lot of
flips.
sense.
I've never stopped using these.
That's
ever.
crazy.
Really?
Of course, Indy trucks. This
Yep.
is 8 inches wide. Got the slime balls.
So what company wheels are those? What are slime
These
balls?
are slime
those-
balls. Santa Cruz.
They're Santa Cruz. Okay.
Gotcha.
It's all
I
good.
should probably know that, but
All good. Well, they brought them back. It's stuff from the 80s that they're
Oh, okay,
bringing
gotcha.
back out now.
Gotcha.
There's a whole new genre of that. People coming forward buying reissues of pro models and
gosh.
boards, and
Yeah.
so that's the story behind my setup. Still, it's kind of heavy, but I like
yeah,
it.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So those are a few of my pro models. You can see the rest at DougBrown.org.
DougBrown.org.
I was gonna say,
Everybody go.
What else did you bring? You brought
I
you got your
brought
book.
Oh,
You
yeah,
got
your books and it's got all sorts of this stuff. It is all at DougBrown.org.
Show and tell time.
Yay.
crazy though.
Books.
It's. I don't want to think of it as a show and tell. Think of it as like like your life story, your
dude.
your accomplishments. It's not like
Yeah, these are my credits, I guess.
yeah. I a lot of people when they say show and tell, they think of like bragging or whatever,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
not
don't
that.
want that. Like we're just
It ain't that.
We just want to learn about you.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on today.
Yeah,
Of course, man. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. I've had 7 books released. I am an author.
Crazy.
Doesn't mean I'm a great writer. I have had editors. My first book had 5 different editors.
Whoa.
through Tape Publishing. My very first book that got published is called Beyond the Board. And that was a complete fluke. How I did that is I had my website at the time, and I was traveling all over the world, living the dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had journals. I was writing it down just for my website. And so
Back when blogging was huge.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Right,
Like,
right.
I didn't want to forget any of it either.
Yeah.
It was real dreamy in the beginning. And so I put it on my website. It was my life story. I thought it was long at the time, but boy, that changed. And I was in El Paso, Texas, and I had a lady come up to me at an event, and she was elderly, and her kids skated. And she said she read this ebook on my website of my life story and how inspired she was.
Oh, wow.
Right?
That's
and she told me,
crazy.
and she was really heartfelt about it. And I thought, wow, maybe I could write a book. It seemed impossible
Right.
because it wasn't on the radar to actually publish a
Sure.
book or to get published. But making a long story short, my agent at the time, we did go after some publishers and we found one. There was no shortage of people that were willing to do the book, but they wanted you to pay money.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And I'm a sellout, right? Remember?
Right. Yeah.
But I said, well, no, I'm not going to pay any money. But
Right.
they offered to put up all the funds for it, and it got distributed nationally at all the big book chains.
Whoa.
That was a big deal to
Crazy.
me.
That's awesome.
And they had the editor. And it
What year was that?
That would have been 09, I think.
Okay, okay,
2009. And it took about a year for that book to actually get edited and all that stuff. Had to have a lot of patience. And I had to add a ton of stuff to it.
Right.
Thank goodness I had a really good editor, the main one, that was saying, you got to write about your mom more. Like, the skateboarding's great and all your adventures, but talk about your life.
There's a backstory.
Yeah, and I've gotten a lot better about that because it's true. If you're trying to connect with people,
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and talk about bonelesses or kickflips or whatever. That's great.
Right.
There's a place for that.
Right.
But I want to tell you about some of the hard times I went through and how I
Right.
survived.
Right.
Sure.
And so, blah, 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 blah. I've got a bunch of books out. This is my second biography. This is the one to check out, Bliss of the Unwind.
Bliss of the Unwind.
Definitely check it out.
Yep. DougBrown.org.
It's not too big. Speedy Entry. This is my favorite book I've ever written because it's all about my teen years.
Okay.
Yes. So for a parent of a teen or a teenager, this is like worth diving into.
I was gonna say, I feel like if me and BJ were to write a book on if we were to write a book on our
sweet
teen
locks.
years, it would be very different. My teen years versus his.
Yeah.
Very different.
But we all have a core of going through a lot of the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where it's the toughest time of your life because you're
Yep.
going through so many changes and you can't
figure things
control
out.
them and you're
Yep.
who am I? You're rebelling and
Yep.
like in my book, I talk about my biography. I talk about the teen years, but in this, I got to fully just dive in.
Sure.
Right.
I had some huge life changes that happened in my teen years, especially with my mom passing away.
Mm.
And I was the rebellious teenager. I did terrible in school. I wish I could say I was a great.
I was a C and D student,
Same.
and that was just so I didn't get,
Yeah.
stuff at home. So
So some wisdom in this and a self-help book, which I still need to open up once in a
Yeah.
while, called Looking Glass Self. Take my own advice. A lot of men like this one for some reason.
Cool.
Because it's
Probably mostly an audience of men. so.
yeah.
well, that's not true. The demographic of the people who buy my books is all women, primarily 35 and up. So my fan
Interesting.
base is very eclectic and different. That's one thing that probably separates me from a lot of other skateboarders. That
Yeah, you need to start. You need to start riding for
Riding
some
a
makeup
book.
companies or
There
something.
you go.
No.
There you go.
come on, deodorant's
you go.
close enough.
Yeah, but that payday, remember?
Yeah, dude. The payday is pretty sweet.
Yep.
But yeah, all of Doug's stuff over at DougBrown.org. You can come skate with him if you want. He'll
Yep.
probably
Yes.
tell you more stories over at the.
My podcast is on there too.
That's
which I
right.
enjoy doing.
I listened to it on Spotify because I think it's on
Yeah,
there
it's on
too.
all those outlets.
It's on
which
all
is
the
kind
outlets.
of fun. A lot of it was during COVID, so it was just myself.
Mhm.
I'd pick a topic like one day, today's Star Wars.
Yeah,
Right.
I listened
Talk about
to
that for an hour and a half.
the one about skateboarding, the one about your life, and the one about Star Wars. And I listened to one other. I can't remember it right now, but you're very good at continuously talking. Like there's a lot of people
Right.
who try to
Right.
do something like this, and there's just a lot of like dead space.
That's one thing we got to think of when we're thinking about like bringing a guest on. It's like, can
we
they,
talk a lot
It,
too.
it
No, you guys are
sounds
good.
It sounds weird for people that don't understand, but it's like, can this person hold a conversation for an hour straight?
yeah,
Because normally that's not what you're doing. You're hanging out with people and there's some downtime and
Yep.
whatever. But to actually just talk for an hour,
continuously talking.
You know, not everybody's super into that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Once I get my rhythm going, that's what it is, and I dive into the don't care mode where you're just like, share yourself, just keep it going, and hopefully everything I do, even my skateboarding, no matter what it is, I try to put my heart out into it.
Right.
And
that's what resonates with people, though.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah.
It makes it easy to.
I think. Again, like, and I keep bringing this up. I don't mean to kind of keep bringing up the same conversation, but like when we're talking about culture and stuff, I think before it was more based on accomplishments and status and stuff like that.
Sure.
And now it's based on authenticity.
Sure.
And like love and help and like all that. So I think that's what people want to hear now is like not even. You know, like you said, we could talk about Tampa Pro all day right now or whatever. Like
I thought you were going to.
And the X's.
I was slightly nervous.
No, you're fine. I just it was very much on my radar, and I love watching and talking about it. Yeah.
But no, like to that point though, we would rather talk about you and you know, your life and your story and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's what resonates with people now. So that podcast is Method Airwaves, right?
Yep.
On everywhere. Definitely go check that out, guys. I'm definitely going.
Yeah, you need to listen to at least. I'd start with the episode about Doug because he does tell a lot of those stories.
Go pretty deep.
Yeah, he does, and
like half in tears sometimes.
Tells them very well, and even I'm a big Star Wars fan too. Like you noticed
Your welcome mat.
Yeah, my walk-in mat.
The force is strong with this one.
Yeah, but the kids love it. My wife and I love it and everything, and we have lots of deep discussions about Star Wars. But you do very well. I loved hearing about like the first run of toys and stuff that you got and everything.
There.
Those were just interesting because I remember watching like a documentary on it where it was all mail in. Where it's like you got this thing
12.
with the picture, the 12.
Yes,
and then
the first original 12 figures. We could do a whole podcast on Star Wars. But I call it first generation
That's the Teach a Dummy stuff. We talk a lot about that on Teach.
Again, we're so different because you're talking about a Star Wars welcome mat, and I almost ordered a Lil Wayne welcome mat like a couple weeks ago. It's just a funny quote that he has in one of his songs, but it's just
Doormats
so funny
awesome.
how different we are as people, but also how
the same.
Exactly the same we
are. And that's what is good in skateboarding. I think people are catching on that, you know. Because when I go to California, I go to San Diego, I'm skating with guys who are older than me, way older than me, and they're shredding. And I like people say, "Aren't how old are you? Can you still skate?" I'm like, "No, man, I'm still able to do this." And
yeah,
but we all have something in common. Is the point?
For sure.
You can be 8, you can be 80. I mean, do you? And
I think it was Sam who was at the group on Friday when he was talking. He's like, man, he saw me eat it pretty hard.
You did a couple times.
Yeah, and I just hopped back up, grabbed my board, and went to the side. And he's like, man, you give me hope. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, what are you in your 30s? I'm like, late 30s. And he's like, you're still ripping. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's a mindset. He's like, oh, that makes me feel better. I'm like, that guy's almost 50. He's ripping.
The summer, baby.
What he meant, like underlying that sentence was, it's nice to see somebody slam that hard and still be able to
get back up.
Now listen, I'll give you this: that I work out pretty hard. If I didn't have the muscle mass in certain parts that I do, I probably shatter a shoulder.
It doesn't hurt. This is true.
Yeah.
I went for a bike ride today. I went for like 4 or 5 miles, not very long, but enough that every day that I don't skate, I have an exercise bike at home, and you got to stay fit. It does help skateboarders. Pay attention to your body. It's good to wear a helmet.
Right.
Once I turned 40.
And again, that's the new thing. You know, Nija started being public that he's working out. You know, Scheckler back in the day, and like Jocelyn and everybody.
They all have nutritionists too.
Yeah, and people, you know,
they can afford it.
Right.
Like 15,
I don't have an nutritionist.
15, 20 years ago, you would have been judged so hard if you're like,
no, you slam 5 beers and then hit that and do a 50 down the double king.
It's like you're doing squats so you can jump that 20 stair. What are you doing? And it's like, oh, that actually makes perfect sense.
Warming up.
Physical what's that? You take a half hour to do all your stretching before you start?
Right.
You have to pay attention to it. I sure do now. Every time I skate, I have to be conscious of that to know my limits.
That's why I get there early on Fridays so people don't see me doing all my yoga stretching and then just doing big pushes around the park. So
you go back and forth on the gym like we did in gym class.
Yep. You got it. It's body in motion stays in motion, man.
Yeah.
If you just stop, like even like having to wait my turn is almost too long.
I know, dude. I see you in the corner, like shaking, like
yeah. I'm like,
go.
Now,
the other day,
it
was like that. That was good. A lot of good energy.
Yeah.
People were
it was interesting to hear you say, like, you came over to me and like, you skate fast, and I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah, you're
you
fast,
do.
very fast.
That's why every time I'm like, slow down, dude. Like relax a little.
Fast. I wish I could go that fast.
If Adam Shell is still in here, he would attest to this. Back then, when we were at parks and stuff, no matter what trick you were trying to do, and that was just like, I can't get
go
this.
big,
like, go faster,
go big,
That's
or
what
go
I'm
home.
saying. That's what I was saying back then. Like,
so
yeah,
that was the deal. Like anytime, like I'd fall or something, and I'd come up to Adam, I was like, I don't think I can get this thing, man. He's like, go faster. I'm like,
well,
all right.
I think that's why people love like Evan Smith right now and stuff, because he's bringing that old school kind of like
coming back,
like flying kind of stuff is back. Yeah,
and I do prefer that. I didn't even think about that, but there was a lot of the stuff when we'd go to parks, when we go to the Flow in Columbus and everything, and I was always looking for the lines, and I'm like, I wonder if I can get from there to way over there.
Right.
And I don't know what, that was just always the thing I liked to do. I loved launching off kickers and stuff. That's why I've always, to this day, I don't care. If I can convince my wife for my 40th birthday that this is all I want to go to Woodward in Pennsylvania and do the mega ramp.
Oh man!
More than anything in my entire life.
This man is braver than me.
I was gonna say,
I would buy a specific setup for it. I just want to do it.
I'll
be your filmer.
I was gonna say,
but I'm jumping off right before you.
I know we're live and this is in front of 1 million people right now.
Yeah.
But what I would recommend is saying, hey, I want to go to Woodward, and leave it at that. Okay, don't mention the mega ramp part.
I've had friends who have done the mega ramps, and
she's
never
a
done it.
great
I don't think
woman.
I ever will.
She's a great woman, and she's gonna do the right thing and say no.
Yeah.
So maybe leave that part out.
Yeah. When it comes down to it, it'd be like,
detail.
I just
By
want
the
to
way,
check out Woodward.
See the pictures afterwards.
Yeah.
You're like, I wasn't planning on it, but I just got there and had to do it.
I got there.
It's not like we talked
Doug
about it
handed
live
me my
on the
board, and
show.
I'm like, I guess I got to do it now.
Leave me out of this, man.
I'll do it. I'll hand you the board.
Yeah, that's true. I could blame Adam.
I have a reputation. So.
But I think that is still like one of those skating fast like that. I like that.
And you're not afraid of rails at your age. I stopped doing rails probably.
I'm a
5 or 6 years ago.
I'm a ledges guy.
But it's also
rails are too inconsistent for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll do it. I have to do it. But if you notice the other day,
put one in front of me, I'll do it.
I like them. I don't. But I've had too many friends, too many stories of too many split open things.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that.
I've done that before, and back in the day, you'd hear it a million times too.
Oh my!
It's just like as soon as you do it and you're down, you're like, put a cup on, man. Whatever.
I know,
it's like
I had one time. I've never told this story. It was so bad. It wasn't a real big rail, but I hit it and it came out, and then my foot like nailed the bottom of the board, and the board bam went up and slapped my jewels from behind my nuts.
That's the worst.
I had to go in the woods, and I'm like, man, I hope I'm okay. Like, can I pee? I was freaking out.
Yeah, you're like, did I break
Feeling
everything?
like you're gonna throw up and everything.
I'm good. But I've had 2 close friends that are around my age that still skate, but they won't touch a rail either, and they both had their junk split open.
Oh,
their
man.
balls like. And they're telling me the
I already
details.
paid a doctor a lot of money to do.
Yeah,
that.
they're telling me the details of the emergency room visit.
Yeah.
And,
You
like,
could have done it for free.
the nurse.
Just find a 15 stair.
So
And I found what's cheaper than a vasectomy. I got this. I'm gonna go. But talking on that, you said that, but do you have like any stories of like injuries that?
yeah, I've been really lucky.
significant?
I am knocking on something because I always do.
It's wood. It's a deck. It's wood. It's fine.
Yes, I've been very fortunate. I have come so close so many times to really, really seriously hurting myself. Split my chin open. Rewind. I split my chin open twice.
Okay.
2 different occasions.
Was that from the board or like hitting
the surface of a ramp.
Got
or
it.
Cement. That was bad.
See, when you talk about rails, that's why I don't like. I remember
Street skating.
No front. I don't do any front side board slides anymore because I had a slip out and hit my chin at the end of the rail,
Yeah.
Still have the scar.
and it's still barely there. But I mean, this was 10 years ago, and I had a lump.
War stories. Got plenty of those.
Yeah,
Right.
and that was I joke about it all the time on here, but like you can still see like the
Oh, don't get me started.
tissue
I was gonna
on
say,
that.
My
ankles-
bone is so gnarly.
Yeah,
and like
just from
dented.
shinners and stuff. And I asked the doctor, and I'm like, it's not it's been like 2 weeks. What is wrong? It's not healing. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. And then she just looked at me. She's like, you're old.
Right.
Like it's not
takes a
going
little
to heal.
longer.
It's not going to heal like it used to when you were 17. You idiot.
The amount of damage that you take from shin down skating, oh, that's the worst.
Our bodies, especially through the years, you guys still have some more time to go, but it's amazing what it can survive and go through. And I've jumped off the top of school buses. I've hit my head a million times. I've been very fortunate. I did break my arm, well, fractured it pretty bad 4 or 5 years ago in Florida at a skate park. I actually got hit. I was running, and it was like Frogger, you know, I was running, and then I got hit a bike. I went flying in the air. It should have been way worse. I landed, woke up. It was still a little not that straight.
Oh, man.
So I had to have a cast on it forever, and that kind of blew, but it could have been so much worse because I didn't have to have surgery or anything. And that's just one little boo-hoo story. And there's people with
I was supposed to have surgery on that. You see how my wrist is? That I fell off the roof.
Yeah, mine. This one's kind of gnarly if you look at that.
Yeah.
But you know what? Another thing. Oh, people say, well, you know, your age, you're gonna get hurt, whatever. If I do get hurt, if this did happen, it was for something.
It
wasn't a waste.
It's rare that you get hurt and you regret it. Like that kind of stuff happens a lot when you're younger, when you're like, I just shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah, it was just dumb. I jumped off the roof and
Right.
tried to show off to my girlfriend
But
or whatever.
nowadays, when you get hurt, you're like, I know I have that though. Like that's the one where you're like, I've done that 100 times.
Well, I see it like this. Okay, let's say I do break my leg tomorrow and just, it's awful. Something's just awful. Okay, well, look at what skateboarding has done for me all these years over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Compared to this. Okay, it's
There's-
worth it.
There's people
Are you
out there
kidding
who
me?
focus on that. You could get hurt. It could be this one thing. And I'm like, that's how I know you don't skate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not the goal to get hurt.
No, I'm not out there
It's
getting
part of
hurt
the
now.
job.
That's
I throw on.
Skateboarding is awesome. Look at what it does for so many people. I met you guys and I'm sitting here because of
Right?
skateboarding.
True. Yep.
All because of skateboarding, and it's taught me more lessons than I care to mention. It really has. It's gotten me into certain circles and being able to talk to people, like even meeting Mayor Wirtz, and
Because of skateboarding.
yeah,
it
it all started with skateboarding.
In all reality, the whole show and like all this kind of started like me and BJ got together for another show and we were just like hanging out and like cool new friend, and then we were like, wait, you skate?
Yeah,
like you
it's like
skate?
one of those things.
And
That
then
I
it's
remember
like-
being in your house and
like a
looking, and
handshake.
I'm like, oh, he's got some etnies. That's
Right.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Right. You start picking up
Yeah.
little things like he's worn 2 Vans shirts in a row. Like, what's going on? You know, and like but like that's where this started really, because it's like now I have a friend to talk to about
Yeah.
skating.
And the social side of it,
yeah.
of course.
And he and I are really big into like SLS and
Right.
the big competitions.
I'd watch those in
Yeah.
silence and
Yes.
just live with my own thoughts.
Yes.
For years,
Yeah.
because nobody else around
like
me.
I would bring it up to anybody,
Right.
and they'd be like, "Oh, is that skateboarding?"
like you know
Yeah.
Stephen Baker, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I was so alone with this stuff. My buddies would come over and I'd be like, "Watch this,"
Yeah.
and they're like, "I don't care." And I'm like, "Watch
You
it."
know, you
though.
don't get it. You don't get
It's
it.
cool. And like after a little while, they started to at least appreciate like how difficult it was. But it was because I'm like, you gotta watch
Yeah.
Jamie
You wanted to
Foy's part.
share your
Yeah.
passion.
Yeah, and they're like,
Yes.
what
They're
is
like, I
this?
really don't. But the joy that like Adam and I get, like the SLS like Super Crown when we were
Yeah.
watching together and texting
Yeah.
back and forth, and like
Yeah.
when Gustavo went for the final one, like my kids were like throwing pillows and stuff,
Right.
like, I can't. Ah!
I got
and roll,
I got a
man.
text from him yesterday with, I would guess, 6 words, and I would also guess 25 exclamation points.
Oh, man.
Because he assumed I was watching the qualifiers. I normally would have been, I couldn't at the time. But he was just like, "Ah!" about
Passion.
something.
It was insane when they did the best trick when
Andy
they do
Anderson.
they do jam style.
Yeah.
And
That's what I like watching.
and they were doing that. It was a half hour, and my kids are cool to watch it and stuff. They're not super into it yet, which I'm fine with. They have boards.
Right.
If they want to come skate with me, they
Yeah.
come skate, but I'm not going to push it on them. If they want to learn, cool, I'll teach
Right.
them all day. But my youngest Felix is getting into, he'll watch he'll watch any of it with me, and like I'll scream or something when something big happens. I'm like, wow, and he'll grab me and he'll be like, wow. He's like,
Rock and
what
roll.
happened?
Well, it's no different than the dad that's watching football, you know,
Yeah.
that's screaming at the TV or like,
Very true, but it's just fun.
Skateboarding.
He'll ask me, he's like, what was that and why was it cool? I'm like,
Right. He's like,
Let me
I loved
tell
it,
you."
but I don't know why.
Let me tell you, you're like Yoda.
Right.
Dude, Brandon in here, he said he wants to do the mini mega so bad. I'd be get on that. Isn't that the one that they had in what's his name's backyard for the X Games? I'm
yes.
blanking.
What's his name, dude?
I almost had it again, and then it went away.
Pastrana?
No,
they did some.
no,
BMX
it's
stuff
the
at
it's the
Pastrana.
skateboarder guy. But does the big stuff. And-
Danny Way?
No,
Not
no,
Danny Way.
no, not him.
Obviously not.
Oh, I almost had it again. Oh, dang. I don't remember. But anyway, it was in his backyard this year, and they had the mini mega, which was like a mini kind of launch, the quarter, and then another like a quarter to a box jump, basically.
Right.
And then one more quarter, and it was like the
It
mini
was a
mega.
lot more manageable.
Yes, it was definitely a scaled down version.
That would be cool.
I still kind of want to do the big one.
I tried.
really do.
Vert is scary enough. If you drop in on a vert ramp,
I have.
That's
12
what he
to
does.
14
Yeah.
feet.
He's a vert park skater, and I'm a street skater, and that's also the difference.
Yeah.
I did. This.
I'm not a vert guy. I hate vert.
But by vert, I mean, you know, the 12-foot high
Yeah.
actual
Yep.
vert ramp. Like, that's actually more terrifying than people think.
Oh,
Just
for
as-
sure.
It's
in
a
person,
12.
it's totally different.
I love
a
watching
12-footer.
it, but to
Yeah.
do it,
No.
I'd jump down a 12 stair before I drop in on a half pipe. Like that's
Get some
just me.
oververt. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I've always been a ramp junkie myself because
Yeah.
I grew up on mini ramps and then skate parks, and I had my
I didn't-
street phase.
Yeah, your
but
half pipe skills are those. I want to hang out with you more on a half pipe.
I wish
this
there was
year
a-
to
if there was
kind
a
of
half
just
pipe
through
there.
Osmosis, we will.
That's where I
hopefully get some-
shine.
yeah.
I get a good little 6-foot half pipes, good,
Yeah.
12 feet, 16 feet
Yeah.
wide.
Oh, dude, get a 12-foot wide one. I've just learned to
I'm
like
all
front
about-
5.0 all the way across the one at Skate Naked. So, yeah,
My YouTube channel has a lot of that old.
I did. I've
school
watched
kind of
a lot of your mini ramp stuff, and I'm like, okay, I just need to.
That's what I'm
I need
kinda
to be
known
there
for.
with him, so that I can kind of like just
I love
start to
mini
learn
ramp.
each one of those
Yeah.
tricks because I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I can do that. Like, there's a lot with skateboarding. Like, you watch some people and you're like, that's amazing. I'm never gonna do that.
Right.
And then there's other people you're watching, you're like, yeah, I'd try
Yes.
that.
Possibly.
That's my
yeah.
Lance Mountain, you know.
Yeah.
I'm never claiming to be a great skateboarder or anything too crazy, and
But it's all. I mean, it's manageable, especially like mini ramp stuff. Like, because I love mini ramp
Mini ramps
stuff.
are
but
awesome.
Mini
did
ramps
you-
are dope. Yeah.
Did you
for
ever?
sure.
Do you ever go to Louisville and skate that big park
yes,
there?
right when they
Louisville's
first
awesome.
opened
Okay, yeah, we used to. My buddy Adam
When they-
Shell and I
years ago.
would go like every year. We'd go like spring break or something. I don't know. Adam could probably correct me exactly when we went, but we'd always go. I remember one time we went with a couple other buddies, and we'd always stay on like the Indiana side right there because it was always cheaper. And we'd get like one hotel room and we'd all
Yep,
cram
that's what we
in.
all
Oh,
did.
for sure.
And then
Yep,
drive
30
over.
bucks tops for a cheap,
Yeah.
I
Ramada Inn.
yeah, anything.
Pretty
Yep,
much.
yep.
But I
I
remember
stayed at all of them.
we stayed out drinking pretty heavily one night, and then we woke up at like 2 a.m. like, we need to go skate.
Right.
And so we went there too, and it was packed.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
remember
They
being
got the
still
light,
a little
24 hours.
Yeah.
a little buzzed, and I just went over to drop into like the 4-foot half pipe and do some stuff. It was the 14-foot bowl, and
Uh,
I
lot
I
bigger
made
in
it.
person.
I dropped in and went in and rode around, and I'm like, no, that was the scariest thing I've
Yeah,
ever. Like,
it's so much
Wow.
gnarlier
I
than
don't know
people
how I
think.
didn't die. I should have fallen to flat and died.
yeah, that's a big flat part before any transition.
And I somehow survived. I don't know how I did it, but I also we found a path to pump that whole thing and launch out of the one side of the bowl, and I did an airwalk out of the bowl. That was the
Nice.
coolest thing ever.
That's an
Shout
old
out
school.
Airwalk shoes.
Yeah.
Airwalk. My first shoe was an Airwalk as
Yep.
far as when I started skateboarding.
Mine too.
That's
Yep, yellow and black Airwalks, and I cried because my mom threw them away one day,
Oh.
which was like they. This was about 5 years in, and they needed to be thrown away about 2.5.
Sure.
And I was just like, no,
yeah.
I've skated these shoes. These are such good shoes. And just one day, I just couldn't find them. And I was like, Mom, what happened?
What
And she
happened?
said,
Child abuse.
she looked at me straight in the eyes and said, the trash has already been picked up. And I was like, no.
It's like my ramp story.
She's like, don't even try to dig it out. Like, it's gone.
Mine were high
gone.
tops. Mine were high tops that had what they called the lace saver over
Yep.
it.
Okay.
Andy Anderson brought that back, his new model on the Etnies.
And it's like a bird on the side of the shoe, and
Nice.
those were cool.
Did we get anything in the chat as far as
we got
questions?
some stuff. Let me scroll back through here a little bit and see. Whoa, don't bring that up. Whoa. Yeah. So Brandon said he wanted to do the mini mega as well. Let me see if anybody else said anything. I can't forget to stretch, obviously. Thank you, Brandon. Andrea Smith, who is Hannah's best friend.
We're missing all the good comments here.
And then she says
I see my name. There's a question.
Did the quotes? She's a great woman, and she's gonna do the right thing and say no.
Don't tell her. Don't tell her, please. Sorry, I didn't know you were watching. Don't tell her.
What is this? Brandon had a question.
Yeah, it says, when you gonna come back to Willard, Doug?
When the opportunity rises, hopefully this summer. I get messages all the time in Facebook. I know Brandon, though. What's up, dude? So I actually know that guy.
Oh, awesome.
But I get a lot of yos. Hey, when are you coming back here? When are you coming back there?
He says, I remember the first time Doug came to Willard, he stood on top of the half pipe and finger flipped Caveman into the mini.
Sounds like me.
That sounds like him.
Legendary.
A lot of finger flips. I get a lot of backlash for finger flipping and doing all this stuff. I grew up in a juggling family. You've seen my new electric juggler thing. So, and I love that skateboarding, folks, has no rules.
Right.
If you want to do a head spin on there, have at it, man.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So that's why I finger flip. I touch my board a lot because I did grow up in a juggling family. And it's part of the thing. It's how I communicate with my skateboard.
Yeah.
It's flourishy and fun. I think it looks awesome.
I don't care.
It's really like...
I do both.
Yeah. It's like, it looks so awesome. Like, so... Yeah.
Well, there's people out there who think it looks just
corny,
terrible. Trust me.
Well, they need to work on themselves. Like,
there's something missing from your life. Where's the camera?
Get a soul, is what Doug Brown's saying.
Be yourself.
And Sam was telling me at the group on Friday that they did resurface a lot of the stuff at Willard, because the last time I had gone to Willard was years ago.
It's been a few years for me.
And it'd been like the mini had a bunch of holes in it and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's lame, because I remember learning a bunch of stuff on this mini.
It's a great wide ramp.
It's stuff.
12,
16 foot, man. It might be a 16-foot wide.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really wide.
It's really wide. They got a cool little
swimming pool right by there.
Because I'd asked, I think maybe it was Brandon who I was talking to in chat the other night, and I was saying, I'm like, does that spine move? Because I vividly remember moving that spine to launch out of the half pipe into the spine, or out of the spine into the half pipe a bunch. And he said, yeah, but now they screwed it down, so people stopped doing that. I'm like, oh, that's lame.
My tailbone will never allow me to ride a spine again.
Oh, did you come down on it?
Well, not on the spine, but
spine.
We were very young. We were not good, right? And we were playing a game of skate, and my buddy went to just air off the side, right? Because we're obviously not good enough to go up and over. So he aired off the side and just did a 180, like a front side 180, I think. And so I go to do it, but my angle's all wrong, and I go up, like way too far up instead of out, and it shoots out from under me, and I just land on the cement right next to it, straight on my tailbone.
Oh, man. All right, the spine story I got is, so I built a half pipe in my backyard my senior year, excuse me, and I had it. It was 8 foot wide. One end had a 4 foot quarter, and then a 32-inch quarter next to it, so you could do stuff there. The other side had a deck with the 32 to match that 32, but then on the 4 foot side, it had a 32-foot spine that went over to a 6 foot quarter pipe, right?
How come I didn't know you back then, man?
This was 2003, I think. Yeah. So
a while ago.
I remember just kind of practicing on it, because we were going to do like a big contest at my graduation party. That was the reason I needed to get it done. I got it done, and we were going to do this big skate stuff at my graduation party. So I was practicing, and I went up to the 6 foot rock fakie, and I was going to fakie like bonk disaster, and then just kind of come over the spine. And I did the fakie bonk, and my board went away, and I landed all stomach.
Oh,
right on.
You get the wind knocked out of you.
Like rolled off of it, and
the worst.
I was like black and blue through here forever.
You folded like one of the tables at your graduation party.
Oh,
I'm
totally.
Sure. Just folded in half.
Yeah, I did not nearly go as hard as I intended to at the actual graduation party because I couldn't breathe. I thought I broke all my ribs.
Yeah,
dude, it was pretty epic.
That sounds awesome.
It was good times. Had a bunch of my
graduation party.
What I did better to that ramp is I got rid of that spine and I made a huge deck on it, like this. It was like 8 foot by 8 foot deck. And we were learning like kick flip in, like kick flip,
gives you a spot
nose
to
blunt,
air
and
out
then come in. And we were airing out to it. I'm like, this was way better than having the spine and way less painful. Because it was also only 4 feet, so you had to be almost perfect. So a lot of like kind of spinning and stalling and going over was kind of out of the question. You kept getting caught on the deck.
Right.
But it was dope.
Right.
It was a lot of fun.
Word.
Jealous.
What is So I know you had a hand in helping with a lot of the parks in Ohio, but what out of all the parks that you've skated, let's start with Ohio. What's the best part? Your like favorite park to skate in?
Shelby
Ohio?
Skate Park.
Well, that's funny because people do ask me that a lot. Or where's your favorite place to skate in the world? Whatever. I always go for something really like vibe-ish.
Obscure.
Like, or just say like, well, there's one park. It was in Cardington, Ohio, that had a mini ramp and a wedge, and that was it. But I always had the most fun there, and the kids were awesome. But on the other spectrum, as far as variety and what have you, Norwalk, the new one there is pretty.
What? Oh, you mean Newark or Norwalk?
Yes,
Newark.
Newark.
Okay, I was gonna say because Norwalk
Spawn
just
Ranch.
they just got a pump track in Norwalk.
Yes,
we went there.
You're right.
That was fun. But Newark,
that one is crazy. It's got full pipe and.
Allegedly, someone's done that full pipe on a bike.
Wow.
On a bike's a lot easier.
I get it, but it's still
like
impressive. 22 foot high at the peak.
Okay.
It's huge.
Yeah, they did so much.
Yeah, you definitely need a bike
person.
for that. Then, probably.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, full pipes are always interesting. Like down in Louisville was where I learned how to like kind of ride that. I think Louisville had the best. I don't know if other places have
Spacing,
this.
in my opinion.
Yeah,
that was good.
Flow is very, very important at a park.
And they had where they had like kind of their street section was like really low manual pads, but it was like almost like it was teetering, and they had it spaced out enough that you could ollie up to a high level and manual across, or you could get on and then keep getting up and go off. That's what we did. I just thought that was I hadn't seen that anywhere else.
I think those type of ledges and those types of setups were inspired by stadium benches and stuff like that. It's the same idea,
sure,
but with obviously a better place to skate on it,
which is awesome.
That's I usually judge a skate park by the variety.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, that Newark one does have that because they got a little pump track in it, and their street section is cool, and then it kind of like gets a little bit bigger to have like more of the park section. It's got the half pipe area. It's well done.
It's like people ask me, what was it, the DC park when that first opened?
It's all
down
street,
there.
baby.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's cool, but I go there and I'm like, I need some transition. I'm looking for a quarter piper, and so the fun factor for me is going to be
that's about it.
Completely different than to somebody else. So for
me, I'd probably love that park.
Well, everything's smooth. And
it's beautiful. The architecture is really cool. The entrance, I came in on the other side. I wish I'd come in on the regular entrance. The entrance is really cool because it's made to be skated too, just the entrance.
Yeah, it's a whole
and everything around it. Yeah, I liked trying to get really fast going around it because there's a lot of banks.
Yeah,
there's no like real
that's what I skated
transition.
More than anything was.
I was like pumping around the whole thing, and I hit a couple ledges, but it was like. It still just wasn't really, and it's really cool how it's like tiered. Right. I'll give them that. It's really cool. It needs pressure washed really bad, but it is cool.
I like practical parks, ones that have something for everybody.
Yes,
6 foot comfort zone. And I show up and there's a vert bowl that's 14 feet high. I can drop in.
Yeah,
might be able to do rock and roll.
I can slide in and then just kind of pump back and forth for a while.
Right.
But it's.
Ohio's improving with skate parks.
Really is, except for Mansfield.
Lexington's going to get there, though.
That's right, dude.
That's what you said. That's cool. I did a lot of those blueberry festivals.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. So we'd like to hold like competitions during that.
Yeah, we used to do something that were actually pretty big. Like they would have bands and during that blueberry festival. Blueberry festival.
Hey man,
that's what it's called.
It's big time.
It was though. It's a big deal in the community.
That's right. It's just like my favorite thing was since I grew up in Belleville as well, and they always have the World's Fair, the street fair there, but so it's always from like Wednesday to Saturday. They close the road on Monday. So we used to get every skateboarder we knew.
Oh yeah.
As soon as like school was out that Monday, it was like we start at one end and we push as hard as we can, and we get to the other, just ollieing over like everything that's in the street,
all the wires.
Before they get all the wires down, you just got some to go over and stuff, and you're just like tricking off of like places at the bank and everywhere you got kicked out of. We're just grinding and going crazy until the police chase us off.
That happened one time.
That bank, dude. The what is it? It was like
it was a First Knox.
First Knox, that's what it was.
Yeah. But they had the Pac-Man gap in the back where the planter is. It's shaped like Pac-Man, and we'd always call it the Pac-Man gap because you could go.
And then there's where the parking lot is. If you like, say you're walking out of the bank, if you just skate that and gap that down to the sidewalk or the alley or whatever.
The world is a skate park.
That's right.
We're saying. I was saying I did a kids' day years ago somewhere. They invited me to come out, and all these kids came with their skateboards, and they had this like roped off place. It's a couple little ramps, which is great. The event person who had it was holding it got upset because everybody's shredding the whole place, man. We're jumping off.
No, you stay right
trash cans.
We're gonna put you in this box.
Right.
It was like this kid-free zone or whatever.
That's the opposite of what skaters are about.
And I tried to explain that to him, and I said, "Come on, guys, we got to get over here." But this is welcome to skateboarding.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, it would be hard to do that, like because I'm like, what you set up was lame. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited because like all the ramps that we have acquired and the other ones that I'm purchasing here soon, we can move them pretty easily. So like if like the bank is on board with like we'll be able to do Kids Day too. Downtown, they closed most of downtown Mansfield, and we'll be able to set up a Kids Day. We could get enough of an area that they'll probably let us put some ramps up, and we have the ramps to do
those events are great.
So
yep.
That's kind of a plan for that. So we're going to do that. I've got a friend who's going to do a fundraiser for us. I've got 3 calls out right now to different venues. One more I'm going to make tomorrow, and hopefully talk to the right people to get that stuff going. And we're just, I mean,
we got a lot of big plans. A lot of big plans for this year.
But the number one thing you need to know about like the Where's My Skate Park stuff this week is that I talked to Lexington Park Board, and they're completely on board with us fixing the skate park. And the only thing right now is it's like, well, you came to us at a wrong time. We've already got money allocated for all this other stuff. But that doesn't mean like they might come in under budget on a few things. They might have a couple $1,000 and if we fundraise a bunch of money, they're going to be more apt to.
Yep. I've seen it happen in small communities where they start from nothing, and the next thing you know, a few years go by.
Yep.
Sometimes less, and then they have an awesome.
It's kind of like
time and time again.
What is it? Is it
doable.
Boise, where it's like it's Boise, Idaho, and just now all of a sudden they have like the best skate park in America, just because people came together.
Yep.
I don't necessarily expect that, obviously, but
we
can do some cool work.
And here's the thing: is like I had such positive feedback and everything from going to talk to Lexington's that it's such the opposite that we've dealt with Mansfield. It's like, you know what? Then let's talk to Lexington.
Right. Well,
let's get this done.
And really, when we first started the show and first started talking about it too, was we talked about that, saying it might be easier to start with Lexington because they already have a foundation.
Yep.
And then that, along with the group we're doing and the community that we're building, then we can go to Mansfield and say, look what we've done with Lexington and all this.
Right.
This
and
stuff.
Skateboarders in these towns, get out and skate those places and make it known. Because a lot of these small towns, you go to a meeting or something, and there's 2 skateboarders, and they're not going to be stoked on.
That's what he was telling me was they basically were all like, thank you for letting us know.
Yeah,
because none of us are skaters, and all we got was negative feedback, and we didn't know how to fix it.
And you got to go in there saying, look, there's more than there's bikers, there's this, there's that. It's not just skateboarding too. You're providing something that these kids can go to instead of wherever.
Right. And one thing that I didn't learn this until I went to this meeting. The reason they say no bikes at that one is because of the size of the park, and that somebody could get going pretty fast on a bike and there could be a bigger injury if a bike ran into somebody. I'm like, can you check on that now?
Stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, can you check on that again? Maybe that was, that was this many years ago when you looked that up. Maybe things have changed.
Because that park's been there for 10,
12 years.
years.
I've done
maybe
tons
more.
of events there in the past.
Yeah, so it's been there a while, but they're very on board, and I think honestly, I think we could come together, get some stuff going, and get something done third quarter this year. I think I think we really could.
It's pointing towards it.
Really, right now it is. If things keep falling the way they do, that'll be great. But I think we take this momentum and we go to Shelby and just see, hey, can we fundraise and get you some different quarter pipes?
Speaking of a vert ramp,
right?
And fixing, because everything's falling off of that vert ramp, like all the wood outside. Let's fix it.
I was there a couple summers ago, and some guy was throwing his kids down there. And they didn't have shoes, and I'm like that was their skate stance. So you guys got to come out here.
Right.
It's
I'm
kind of
there.
sad.
Well, now that we have, I'm working on through church. We're putting in an outreach center in Shelby. So when I'm working there, and I have to coordinate all the construction workers and stuff, and they're like, "We're going to lunch," and I'm like, I'm gonna go skate.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I'm like, I can't do anything right now. They're gonna go to lunch. I'm not hungry. I'm just gonna go skate.
Right.
So it's got a little tiny pyramid, and it's fun to pump that half pipe.
Yeah. If that square rail's there, dude, that square rail, I learned so much on that
because it's low.
Because it's low, and it's like 15 feet long or something.
It's not that. It's not that
well,
big.
It seemed that big when I was a kid.
It's a nice little rail, and it's fun to do stuff.
Very
there,
low.
So,
it's literally like this low or something.
If we got, if we could raise, depending on what kind of money we could raise, I looked at to get a better half pipe for Lexington, because it's by the company that bought the company that made the ramps for Lexington. I looked into it. They can make another metal like
it's American Ramp Company, and I know a lot of those guys, and they make completely better new stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, Orville that I live near. Orville is going to get a skate park this spring. You ever heard?
Oh, it's happening finally?
Yeah,
I remember when you had that outreach, because that was one of my stores. Was the 8th?
It's happening, 120%. It's done. It's I've seen the plan. I'm one of the few that got to see it, and it's awesome. It's big.
You hear that, people? We got another new park to go to
this spring, summer for sure.
I think we're going to set up. I think it would be fun. We should all get together.
I can get you involved with that for sure.
Oh, please. That's just another thing, another feather we can put in Skate Mansfield's cap to be like, look what we helped with.
Right.
By a little bit, but we helped.
Right.
In Orville, it's like 10-year battle to try to get a skate park, but you get the right people, get
very
the skaters.
Amish community too.
Shows that there is a need. I did a fundraiser last year with them.
That was where I first heard of you. Is that somebody from when I started the little skateboarding group with the few kids that started, they sent that to me because they're like, we're going to this. You should check it out. And that's when I first kind of heard of you.
All right.
We had a couple more questions here.
I was looking over there. There's a whole bunch.
Okay, so we got a question for Doug. What is the hardest trick for you to do, and which is your favorite trick to do? That's from Haley Abbey.
Oh, right on. Hello, Haley. I know that person. How you doing? Oh, they don't talk back. This isn't on TV.
Well, they can, kind of.
That's a good question. It's funny when people say tricks to this day. It still sounds like David Copperfield, or like it's a magic trick. Like poof, something's gonna.
They're illusions, Pop.
The past 5 years or so, I started consciously calling them maneuvers.
Okay.
My favorite maneuvers or moves.
Yeah.
All ramps and stuff I call obstacles. So
right.
That's Tony Hawk Pro Skater in you right there.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Haley, but because tricks, maneuvers, stunts, whatever, I'm a huge advocate of doing your own thing or making your own tricks up. To me is gold.
Right.
It's how I stuck out at the Gravity Games way back then. Had I done a lot of standardized moves, which are great and have their place, I never would have shined, I guess, or stood out. So my tricks, a lot of my tricks I do, like the DB helicopter thing. You might have seen me do that. I made that. Well, I'm not going to coin that I made that up, but it's a version of something that I seem to be.
You freestyled it.
And not a lot of people do that trick.
Yeah.
So a lot of my tricks don't have names.
Video medium. What am I doing?
Stop, BJ. You're not gonna find that.
DB?
You want to bet? I know exactly where it's at because I watched everything of his on
all
YouTube.
Over YouTube.
Oh, okay. If it's one of his, okay.
It's a double-edged sword. Yes.
I thought you were just gonna Google a random trick, and I'm like, I don't know, man.
Helicopter. I like to jump off of stuff a lot.
You are a very hoppy person.
Yeah,
right.
And I mean that as a compliment.
Stop you.
Yes,
You're not gonna
because people sometimes I'll hear people on the top ramp being like, "Ooh, parkour."
Right.
I'm like, no, skateboarding. Well, there's a whole bunch of
parkour.
people that stole that. I'm at the top.
I see you there. Hold on, I just got it.
That's my official channel.
Oh no,
Whoa.
we're in the Matrix.
Whoa.
We're in the Matrix.
Whoa.
There it is.
DB helicopter.
Introducing Doug Brown's DB helicopter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Does it go? Is that what, like a 720, or is it a set amount of spins?
I think
or?
yes. It's Everybody does this wrong because they start off with the right hand. I wish we had a.
Hold on.
They go like this. They start
know.
like that. I start on the inside like a baton.
Gotcha.
And then it
It goes
full
over,
rotation.
and then it goes over your hand, right?
Yes,
So it's
that's
like a
the secret.
900 because you turn it back in. Right?
Boom. I was watching an old Santa Cruz. It might have been Speed Freaks, an old Santa Cruz VHS video, and there was a guy that jumped on top of a car and did that. And then he landed it like that and then jumped off the car.
Right.
So I took that. I remember doing the slow motion, and I did
I'm
it
like
on the floor.
slobbering. I'm like literally. I'm just like all the math is going through my head. I'm like, can I turn it?
Angles.
My hand
See,
again?
hand stuff can be more technical than people think.
Oh, for sure.
I think it's dope. I liked seeing that. I think it's pretty awesome. So we got a hey Doug from Haley that said hey. I got to scroll back up. That was that one. Let's see. Erica, all the Rams. Sorry I'm late. Douglas. I'll definitely come back and watch what I've missed.
Oh.
Thank you.
I don't think that's a
Erica.
question.
Okay, well,
Well,
start.
she says watching from Orville.
Let's filter out.
Hold on,
the-
start.
We are excited.
Anybody that
Hello,
goes
Erica, and
back,
everybody else out there.
anybody that goes back and watches the thing, start at about 40 minutes.
There was a lot of banter. The
I didn't even know we were filming at first.
Yeah.
I'm asking where the bathroom.
I
is.
didn't either. I was looking at my phone.
Playing
I pulled
guitar.
up Facebook just before we were going.
I was just trying to make this work.
And I see myself at the top of my news feed, and it says live for 6.5 minutes. I'm like, what is going on?
My question is, why haven't you let me design a skateboard for you yet? Erica says.
More questions. I get a lot of requests from artists and stuff. Well, send me your ideas
So yeah,
because I can send them over to Yoker, who I ride for.
How BJ brought up like the signature boards and stuff like that. Like, so how is it like every year you get a new pro model, or is it just when you come up with a new idea, or they come to you?
It can
and
be
say,
both, and I've had both happen.
Okay.
And in fact, I got my first pro model through Yoker because I mentioned it. In fact, Bobby Cerna, if you're out there in California, that's where they're at.
Right.
He had a lot to do with that, and he said, "Well, we could see." And then I kept asking and kept asking.
So
and
if
kept
he's-
asking. And
Yeah.
then he said, well,
Persistent.
let's go. Yes, very. Next thing I know, they make the board, sells like crazy, and that's where the ball started rolling.
Gotcha.
And they gave me a bunch of, it was cool. It's like a conference call. They gave me different ideas of what they could do. And
Right.
so I got to pick what I wanted.
Nice.
And some of these other ones I just did myself, or I designed them, or
Oh,
I've
nice.
worked with different digital artists like this
Mhm.
guy here. I'm looking at the Back to the Future
one.
board.
Yeah.
I've had artists send stuff, but it's so complicated on how to do that with, I don't know.
So basically,
licensing.
if he's
Yeah.
listening, we're gonna need a new model coming out for 2023.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what Yoker's working on something. So there'll be
good.
another board, which is cool.
Okay. And it's gonna have SkateMansfield in it, right?
Right.
It's gonna be part
Yeah,
of it.
Okay.
No, just kidding.
We're gonna squeak our way in there. Oh dang.
We'll see about that.
You're right.
What's in it for me, man?
Love and affection.
I know,
I'm just kidding. What were there other questions?
I didn't see any other questions come up. There's just one talking about who came up with the Back to the Future theme.
Oh, that was because that's what got you into skating, right? Was Back
Yeah.
to the Future?
I mean, it played a part seeing that. It was so long. It was 1985 or so.
Mm.
And skateboarding, you couldn't just go to Walmart or whatever and buy a board, or
Right.
not that I'd ever recommend that. Let's
Right. Well, it was
support your local skate shop.
it was interesting too, because back then, like, the way I understand it is people viewed skateboards as like toys.
Yeah.
Like not like a sports
A
thing.
novelty, yes.
Yeah, they thought it was like a slinky, like a toy, basically.
Mm.
Yeah, when I got into it, it was actually kind of popular in a very subculture way.
Right.
It wasn't
Right.
so mainstream like it is now. So I mentioned going to you can go anywhere now and buy a board, and
Right.
we didn't have all that. Anytime I ordered through CCS, which was
Yep.
California Cheapskates, I'd have to wait 7 to 14 days.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea what that stood
Oh, it
for
was
until this
awful.
moment.
The
I've been
waiting.
ordering off CCS for 20 years.
You know how many people don't know that? Yeah, it was California Cheapskates. We would get these Bibles,
Yeah.
we called them. They were
Yep,
catalogs.
every month or whatever with
It
had all
still
the
comes,
boards
baby.
and- Yep.
I still get mine, and I just as soon as it comes
They
in, I just
still
sit
make
there. I'm
them.
like,
That's
"Ooh."
awesome.
Yep, and they're
They still
about
come out.
this big,
Yep.
about 20 pages.
My first
15 pages.
pro model I bought was a Kevin Staub Sims board with the pirate on it, and it was through
Yeah.
California Cheapskates.
Nice.
We have to wait forever. You call up, credit card, those whole thing, and
Mm-hmm.
wait every day. I have to get
Yep.
off the bus, and UPS guy, like,
Yep.
please be there. Or
I'll-
the Airwalks had to order. Everything was from
Yep.
California. Everything.
I'll never forget it. My first ever like legit pro board was the Birdhouse Falcon 3, which
Okay.
was, if you want to pull that up, since we're on a video,
like the
you can-
skull.
Yeah, it's like the skeleton of the bird. It was like, you know, when I'm 12, I'm like, this is the coolest medalist board of all time. The Falcon 3.
I'm looking. Hang on. Here it is. I got you.
Yeah. That thing was, and I only got the deck, so I still had like my Walmart board with like the trucks on it that were terrible.
Boom.
But
As long as they weren't
oh, wait.
plastic.
Wrong one.
they might have been. They might have been.
Gotta find the Falcon. I apologize.
Come on, bruh.
I'm going as fast as I can.
Come
I
on,
produce
bruh.
and do it all myself.
That first one.
Oh, that was a very popular
Yep,
board.
that first
Yeah.
one. I thought I was the coolest dude of all time. $300 right now.
Don't even get started on old school
Yep.
skateboard prices.
Oh, it's signed.
Oh, well, that one's okay.
That
Mine
one's
was
signed.
not. But yeah, the Falcon 3, man, I thought I was the coolest dude of all time.
Signed. I have a Tony Hawk signed board. It was his second pro model, the old school board, the Claw, and it says "To Doug" from Tony Hawk 2005.
Wow.
dope.
Mic drop.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I wish I
Not
was
that.
that cool. No, for real. That's a
Pretty
real
sure.
statement.
That's the first time I met Tony Hawk. I think
Yeah.
it was
Pretty
2005.
sure this was my first.
I want to be
No,
able to
I had a
say that
baby
one day.
blue.
The first time I met Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been I've met a
Yeah.
lot of the pro skaters. I've been very fortunate.
that's so awesome.
No shortage of stories there, but
Was this your first board? Is that what you're saying?
Kind of, yeah.
Element.
It's not the exact same. It was
Element-
baby blue
the-
and it said Featherlight.
I remember.
Yeah,
in the
Element
center.
boards
Element.
just generally have their big logo on them. Or back in
Yeah.
the day.
which I'm fine with. They're,
Yeah,
right
for
now, they're kind of the best way for me to get the completes to give out
Yep.
because they right
Complete
now
for like $75 or something.
it's even cheaper. Like because if you're on their mailing list, you get like I just got the email today. They're like tomorrow starts this, but you get it today, 50% off the clearance stuff.
Wow.
And that's how I got a lot of our complete boards
Yep.
because I got them for like
Yep.
$35. I'm like, I
Yep.
could get so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, hit
And
up.
so
I
it's-
mean, we should probably mention that. Hit up the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be, if anybody's watching right now, it's not like in the comments, but it's gonna be in the SkateMansfield group if you want to go over there. But if you're watching on YouTube, then it'll be in the comments and stuff. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, how many boards have you bought? I mean, 10, 15 boards at least, or something like that you've given out.
I've given away 17
Yes.
at this
17?
point.
Yeah.
I've
Given
got
away
that, I have
17.
that same disease. You know,
Yeah.
you see a kid, you're driving along, you got a complete in your back seat of your car.
Right.
Yep.
His board is thrashed.
Yep.
And everything in you wants to give that to him and
Right.
say, man, just rock and roll.
Yep.
You know,
Go on.
It
Get out
is
Here.
it is a struggle.
Get out here, you
for,
scamp.
Because I remember, I mean, this is, when I'm thinking about this is 2001 for me or whatever.
Sure.
But to get that Falcon 3 deck, that's a $55 deck back then.
I did.
That's 6 weeks of housework for me. You know, like
I talk about it all the time. Is like I'd see kids like focus their boards and stuff and just break their stuff, and I would just get like so upset because I remember
I had
snapping.
to physically work for that. Like,
I'd snap my board and I'd almost
I'd
cry.
cry, yeah.
because I'm like I have to go bale hay for an entire weekend.
Right.
I don't get to skate.
Right.
And I have to work incredibly hard just to order another board, which I have to
Right.
wait 7 to 14 days to get.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
It's not like the Amazon.
Not broken yet.
days
Yeah.
later.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. I had a
But-
couple more questions here.
But
Oh, sorry, go.
the new grip tape on that new board always feels
Oh, it
great.
feels great.
Oh, it's
It's
one
a-
of the best feelings.
Nothing better. Nothing
All right,
better.
what else we got?
So we got from Erica. She said, "Are you working on any new sponsorships?"
That's okay.
Ooh.
I don't really go out of my way to do that now. I'm not like hungry. If somebody approaches me or some kind of deal that goes somewhere positive or for something, that
Yeah.
means something, I'm interested.
How do
but-
we sponsor you? With
Yeah,
no money because we're
yeah.
broke.
We can give you
We can get, like,
stickers.
and like shirts and stuff.
Oh yeah, dude, we'll get you a shirt.
We'll
We
skate
can't
for-
offer
Will you
much.
skate for us, Doug?
We can't offer
Please?
much.
I'm content where I am with what I have as
Yeah.
far as
That makes
sponsors,
sense.
and I'm lucky to have any. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to get sponsored by Nike. I'm really
Right.
realistic on who I am.
But it would be cool.
I was
yeah,
gonna say,
but-
if Nike comes to you and they'll be like, "We need you to."
I'm not
We
Nyjah.
have an
you know?
emergency sesh with Nyjah. Get over here.
Right, right.
I skated with Nyjah before he was pro, and he was a little kid. Him and his
Oh,
dad
man,
at
With his
ASR.
dreads.
I have a lot of stories like that. But yeah, when he was just before he was pro, he was still a little guy. But
When he
him
was
and
like
his dad-
10 or whatever. He went pro at what, 12 or something?
Something.
It was
He was
the
very young.
ASR trade show in San Diego. I think that was I don't remember what year that was, 03 or 04 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my Nyjah story.
Right.
I've met pretty much
tons of people that way. He's like, oh, Caleb asks, have you met T.J. Rogers?
No.
Dude, Caleb's all about TJ
He
Rogers.
loves T.J.
Shout
Rogers.
out Caleb.
I haven't.
I see you trying to hit that kickflip 50-50 in the group, man.
Yep.
You're going to get it.
Yep, he's going to have
He
it.
loves him some TJ
It's
Rogers.
funny. People ask who I meet, skateboard, especially young guys like that I met this guy. And I'll tell them the skaters I've met, especially my heroes from the
Sure.
80s.
Right.
You know, you
Not the
say
same.
Cap. I can go
Right.
on and on and on. And they don't know who I'm talking about.
I would guess Caleb was born in what? 2003.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
2003.
That's
something like
okay,
that.
brother.
He's not going to know half of these people.
I've had that happen.
He
a
probably doesn't
lot.
even know Bob Burnquist. No, I'm just kidding.
Bobby B.
Bob's my age. We're the same age.
Yeah.
I'm the same age as Andy Mack. A lot of those guys were all in the same. So
Andy
they're still
Mack's
skating.
still ripping like crazy.
Yes. He's
that
been a
video they
good
put out
dude.
for Jason's birthday where Andy's
Yeah.
ripping, and you're just like,
Yeah, he's the vert
how is
master.
he better than he was?
Right.
How?
Yeah,
Like,
he's never stopped. I remember the first time I met him. Well, the first time I saw him, it was with, I think he was skating against Tony Hawk in the X Games.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And I'm a big Hawk guy because
Yep.
when I was 15, 16, Hawk was
And
my
they were-
hero.
yep.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, who is this guy that's taking it? Don't take
Right.
out Tony, you know? And then they ended up doing doubles
Yeah,
together.
and they shut down the doubles world.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That routine they had was
for probably
unbelievable.
4, 5, 6 years there, it was Andy or Tony who's going to win the vert.
Yeah.
And then a special thing for me, because I snowboarded also, when Sean White came over
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just competed with him, and everybody was so mad.
Yeah.
Because he's
White.
only skated a couple years, but he knows how to triple backflip
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
He was awesome. So, yep, he confirmed 2003. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Kayla asked.
There's
it
a bunch of questions.
It keeps
up there.
knocking me back down. Sorry.
What?
What is your motivation to start Skate Starlight? Skate straight. Ah, I'm an idiot, dude. I can't read.
Words and stuff.
Skate Straight turned into
Straight.
my Dream Big Foundation, which is where I speak at schools, libraries, detention centers, and everywhere in between. Is like I said earlier, was just to reach people, to make a difference, because people need people, and people are the heaviest components of our lives. I mean, and to be able to give back, especially through Athletes for Hope and Dream Wakers. But Athletes for Hope gets me to go into hospitals, and I've seen so many kids with terminally ill illnesses and, you know, trauma. And
How does that affect you, man?
Yeah,
that's heavy.
I was
yeah,
gonna say
so
that,
many
like-
stories.
Like, dude, being a parent, like even like it gets me now to like watch things like athletes going into a hospital. Like
Yep.
I'll be like, I gotta change the channel, dude.
Yeah.
I'm about to break down in front of.
I do a lot of posts like that, especially at the time when I was doing it. I have so many stories. One in particular was a guy named Mike Cantu, and it's at Akron Children's Hospital. He was a fan of mine. I never knew this kid, nothing, but he had a traumatic injury on a springboard or something at an all-night trampoline type place, and he was paralyzed from the neck down. And it was only 2 days afterwards, he was doing okay, and his dad contacted my agent. I'll never forget this because I was in a movie at the time, and I left the movie theater and went to Akron to surprise this kid, grab some posters and stuff. And I thought I was going to be there for 20, 30 minutes. I go in the room. He knew who I was, and he was all excited, and the dad was jumping up and down like I was some, you know, superhero.
Dang.
And I ended up staying there for like 2 hours talking to this kid and him and his dad. And it was so just powerful that I was the one who left there inspired because they had so much optimism that it was.
In such what you would consider a dark time,
Yes,
they were able
this
to.
was like a couple days later after this happened. And that was years ago. Now the kid is in college and he's got a special chair. He's doing so much.
Dang,
and his
that's
mom, I still
awesome,
talk to
man.
her once in a while too. And that's just one story. But boy, we think we have problems. And that guy is a true superhero.
Yeah.
Right.
What he's done with his life,
Right.
paralyzed from the neck down, and has done all this stuff. And there's pictures of him on the beach, you know,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
his chair. But he's like just living life.
Right.
And that inspires me. So I
Sure.
go into these hospitals, reach these kids, this and that, but I leave going, wow, man, whew,
Right.
that kid's got strength.
I always thank God that there's people like you and like people who do missionary work, because I'm not called to that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm not then saying that I wouldn't do that. I don't know if that's my passion or calling to do
I
that.
would do it. I don't know if I could continue to do it.
Same.
Like I just like especially back in the day before I was a parent, maybe I could get through it. Like obviously I'm a human, like it's still gonna affect me, but like now, dude, for real, any like video of anybody going into like a hospital and like just seeing like I'm like legitimately I got to change the channel or like it's over. Like I could not be there.
My background,
keep it together.
Why can I do it? What is I don't have any superpowers, but I have my parents, which I'm very grateful for. Because my dad was a doctor for 35 years. He was a baby doctor.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my mom was a nurse before she passed away.
There it is.
So my parents, I grew up seeing my dad all the time and his reputation in the community. Everybody knew who he was. And he taught me that you have to subconsciously, he didn't ever say anything, but I knew from his reputation and people giving me stories through the years, oh, your dad, if it was for him, and I was having this surgery and he was, maybe making me feel better by doing a joke or something, or he always asked about my kids. And he had taught me that there's more to your job than just the physical part of what you're doing at it. It's the reaching people, like I said earlier. So I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
Yeah.
Is my parents planted that seed in me, and especially my mom too. She was awesome.
Dude, like I'm saying, dude, I'm glad we're all different. I thank God that we're all different because that heavy stuff I just don't think I could do or do well, at least.
Right.
And yeah, like same with like people who do missionary work and stuff. It's like, I'm glad you guys exist. I ain't doing that. Let me see if there was any other. Caleb asked, can Blake be your mini-me? That kid wants to do everything you do. He's like, that was when I met that kid, those were the tricks he was trying to do. And I'm like, boy, have I got a guy for you to meet. Yeah.
Well, I like skateboarders like him because I go to these parks all over the place and I see a lot of skateboarders, especially ones that are really good, okay?
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Awesome. You have a skill. But for some reason, I'm always attracted. I always notice that person that's doing something different.
A little different, yeah.
That's sticking out. Because, again, it's a paintbrush. And somebody that I can tell is a soul skater that's doing something that's just a little more original or...
Right.
I'm drawn to that. So that's how I met him, because I was like, right on. I could tell instantly when he was flipping his board around.
His own style.
Which is great. And I think that should be, I don't know, celebrated. And try to be original with your skateboarding, everybody, because
for sure
you're expressing yourself, and that's
what it's all about.
It's meaningful, yeah.
I actually, I mean, there was a clip, because I'm in a couple different skateboard groups just on Facebook, and a dude posted a video of him landing his first kickflip, and he's just at a skate park. He's off like in the corner. There's kind of people around him, but he's just stationary, and he lands it, and he just like looks around, and then like he's like freaking out for a second, and then you see like 4 or 5 of his buddies run in and like tackle him and like like whatever. And I commented, I was like, I love seeing all the homies like hype you up like that. Said that's what this is all about.
Oh, absolutely.
And like.
Not let's go over and make fun of that kid.
Right, right. But that comment in this massive group of like hundreds of thousands of people became like one of the top comments. Because people are like, yeah, like that is what it's all about. It's just being there for everybody.
I've not even understanding that kickflip. There are people who will see that video and see that comment. They're like, yeah,
right.
I see that.
I've been at so many parks. I've seen it where kids were making fun of another kid because they didn't his shoes or whatever, how he's standing, or anything. And I always get in the middle of that and say, no, man, do your thing. It's cool. And I wipe out that negative vibe that I don't like to see that, because we're all supposed to be brothers. I mean, we're at the park. 100%. Let's all get along.
And there's
no need for that.
It is way different. I think about that and I look at that all the time, because when I was coming up, like I've been spit on, I've been elbowed, I've been all of those things at parks, and like even at Louisville back then. There was a lot of
very
elbows.
Fast
push. That's how I probably learned to get faster.
That's true.
You didn't have a choice.
I will say, do we have any other questions? Because we're probably going on like a 2-hour episode.
We're probably pretty heavy.
And we're.
I gotta say one more thing. I just looked down. That was the board. There it is.
Yep, I've seen those.
That was like the first board I had, but mine was baby blue.
I thought that was up the whole time.
No.
There's got a screen here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I navigate it over here so that's so we can see and they can see us see. It's hard to understand. Yeah, I try.
Stuff and things.
So, Doug, I can't believe you took the time.
Yes.
I can't believe you take
you
the
guys
time
are
to
awesome.
come skate with us on Friday nights. It's so awesome.
I really enjoy it for a number of reasons. It's close and the vibe's right. And I think I'm part of this. I want to help you take your mission and your energy and put it to use. Get a skate park, keep things going. These events this summer, we should talk about some events this summer, August.
So
18th and 19th,
August 18th and 19th, the Mansfield Music Fest. SkateMansfield and Doug Brown have a booth, and
I will be there.
They've told us that they'll give us a booth that has concrete so that Doug can do some skating and we can talk about a bunch of stuff. We're going to try to get some things to be able to raffle off to put money towards the skate park project. We have an unannounced-ish event. Don't hold me to this yet, but I'm trying to set something up for April 25th. My homie Greg Pruitt is going to do a hypnosis comedy show that he does like kind of all over Ohio, but he said he reached out to me. He's like, I want to help, and I could throw a fundraiser for you, give you all the proceeds. So something like that's going to happen. I don't have the venue or anything yet, so that's kind of still in the works. But there's other things we're going to do. We're going to have the Lex Games are going to happen this summer.
That's what we could call the Blueberry Festival when we do that.
That is definitely what we're going to call it.
That's the Lex Games.
That's going to be the Lex Games. And then we're going to try to have more fundraisers at the Lexington Skate Park as well. Vaughn already said he'll come out, do a set, and we'll have some skateboarding and do whatever we got to do. Because, I mean, we could always, if we want to beef up Lexington for now to do an event, we can drag all the ramps that we have in Ontario.
I can bring in anything.
It's something else to change it up a bit.
Man,
something for now.
I love this community.
Isn't it the best?
Doug, is there anything that like you want to plug or say or anything like that before we end here?
Well, I do everything. My website, DougBrown.org, which has got all my tour dates and videos and my podcast. And next Saturday, I do have a book signing at a library in Orville, Ohio. It's a library. I'll be there from 11 till 2.
And that's this Saturday?
This coming Saturday.
So if you're watching on YouTube, it's the day after this comes out.
Yes.
So definitely go see it.
So check that out. I do that kind of stuff. And just skating, staying busy, and
awesome.
I put out a movie too. Check out my YouTube channel.
Yes. Just casually got a movie.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a movie that you got to check out. We didn't talk about that, did we?
No, we didn't bring that up.
Okay, it's a whole nother hour. But
yeah, we could. Yeah.
My brother and I put it together.
We got to leave some stuff
short
so that
film. Yes, check out the website. That's all I'll say. Go to DougBrown.org. And
that's right.
We got to leave some meat on the bone, so you got to come back.
You got to come back and talk about it.
I'd love to. You guys were awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
hello.
thank you, man.
Really appreciate it, and hopefully everybody's entertained. And
I believe they are. Sounds like they are in chat. And Caleb says, thank you so much. Everybody's saying thank you, Doug.
No, thank you, everybody. Everybody that tuned in. I see you kind of up there. My vision's
up in that
not too bad.
I got 3 screens going. I'm trying to navigate all
BJ, there's one last thing for people that they need to do.
Go skate.
Go skate.
Go skate. I'm all about it. Go skate.
Thanks, people.